Hello? Hello, is this thing on? I want to thank everyone ahead of time for all the follows and stuff. I really appreciate the support. I can't actually stream Wild SP or Wild West or no Wild RP, sorry, because my computer can't handle Red Dead and streaming at the same time. So I appreciate you showing up and all these lovely people. I'm gonna unmute them shortly. And it should be a lot of fun. Some very talented people. And just do exclamation podcast if you want to know who's in it. Yeah, they're all horrible criminals. I will be doing a civs. I have done a Ladies of Wild RP and a Law of Wild RP podcast, which you can see on my YouTube. Or I just re-uploaded them because I realized the VODs got deleted, so I just re-uploaded them. If you're interested. Hi, Argon. So glad you're here, hon. Thank you for the resub. But here we go. Let's see what these guys are talking about. We'll sneak up on them.
Green.
It's purest green, my lord.
You've lost your fucking mind.
Yeah.
I came into you saying, my lord, diverts. Perfect.
Ah, perfect.
Kids,
He knows his place.
Mills, can you say something, hon, so I can get your volume? You're the only one I didn't get.
Hello. How are you?
Turned you down a little. Anyways.
That's too much energy.
A little too much energy. Thank you guys for all being here and supporting my little channel. I can't stream Red Dead because my computer would burst into a flame of fire. So I appreciate this, and I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, after you threatened us, how the hell were we supposed to say no?
I know,
Mhm.
for real.
Hey, can I have my dog back?
No,
I
Jesus.
can't believe you held Jimothy at gunpoint.
not until
Right?
I've been here for an hour.
Oh, okay. Well, I suppose I can do that for a dog.
Okay, if you guys would be so kind as to introduce yourself, you can start, Solomon.
I'm Dust Monkey. I'm a professional costume and prop designer / voice actor. I guess that would be me. Go, Peppo.
That's it? That's all you're doing?
That's what else you want. I don't know. I play Solomon. I play Dr. Creed. I'm either a Cockney or a weird, creepy posh man.
What's your favorite color?
I haven't really got one. I don't know. Red? I don't know.
Green.
Hey guys, my name is
green.
my name is Peppo, and I'm glad to be here. It's a pleasure knowing all of you.
Is that it?
That was beautiful.
He's a fantastic artist, by the way.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, Mels, you're up.
I'm Kasins. I stream sometimes and just sit on my computer and play video games, and I play the most handsome outlaw in the Crossing Mills.
Not true.
Debatable.
It's your turn, Ryan.
Well, I'm Ryan. And believe it or not, I play Christine. It doesn't usually sound like this. And that's it. That's that's it.
AKA Mama.
Yeah, Mama.
He does stream too, by the way. I can't help but say by the way that way anytime I'm around Peppa.
By the way,
There we go.
We've saved the best for last. Who are you, Verts?
That's some bullshit.
best my ass.
Yeah. Well, hello. I'm Vertigo. I play the Wallaby Kid at the moment on the server. Glad to be here. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I played Baz Kerrigan back in a couple months ago.
He's also an amazing YouTube editor and content creator.
Yeah, sure, yeah, great. I'm a great YouTuber.
He really is. So
Good YouTuber,
modest, though.
Too kind. Thank
bad
you.
person. Good YouTuber, bad person.
Yeah, that's how they sum me up, bro.
And well, I'll just take a moment to shame Pip, who said he would be here and is not here yet.
Yeah, he's
Shame.
a no-show. He's a
Shame.
no-show.
Someone
Shame.
starts shaking a bell at him.
Don't remind us of
Shame.
that show, dude.
That is literally what Peppa wanted to do today. I was watching your stream.
I
his
got a,
car.
I got a, I got a clown horn, so I'm satisfied.
Okay, so we're gonna start right off the hop because these guys have things to do and some of them are just waking up. This always intrigues me and interests me. Me myself, I was watching someone roleplay on I used to do Planet Coaster. That's where my name comes from. That's what I used to stream all the time. And I saw someone role playing, and I'm like, what the fuck is role playing? And she was so bad, and she'd admit this. She was really bad. I just was like literally screaming at my monitor, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And like I'm furiously typing in her chat, like, what are you doing? She was a friend, by the way. And I applied for Twitch RP the very next day before even buying ARC. They used to do ARC all the time. I got accepted, and I've been role playing ever since. That was about 7 years ago. So, how did you get into it? I'll start with you, Verts.
Well, first time I ever roleplayed was back in 2006. It was text-based roleplay in a game called Second Life. There was a server for Star Wars roleplay. And so I joined up and I did RP there for quite a few years. And I would jump to different games and do the same thing, but it really became like a bigger part of my gaming life when I started doing YouTube. Because as a content creator, you're always trying to find ways to entertain, obviously. And back when I started doing the roleplay on YouTube, it was very early days of voice RP for streaming in YouTube. It was very, very bare bones minimum. But now it's taken off. It's unbelievable. But yeah, so I've been doing it for quite a while. But voice stuff, still very new to it and still learning. Only just recently, in the last maybe 6 months, actually started changing my voice. Before then, I just used my normal voice, this voice right here. But it's always a learning experience, and being around so many great RPs, especially on WildRP, has helped tremendously.
Excellent. Well, it seems like Pep should go next. Monsieur
All right.
Pepe?
Believe it or not, I used to just do art. That's all I did. Draw, paint. That's it. Every day, all day. And so I did that repeatedly. That's what also how I made my living, painting and streaming the painting. But it got to a point where I ended up drawing so much that I just nearly destroyed my arm. So I couldn't do any art. But I still had the stream. I had this community that I had, that had grown over the years. And now I can't do art. I can't supply the people what they want, what they're here for. But, you have an obligation to the people that show up every day, to the people that support you. So I got to figure something out. I did reading on stream for like a month, just audiobooks. And that's all right. But, that's not really a way to sustain and grow. At least for me, it wasn't. And then somebody said, try roleplay. They kept pestering me, a few people. And I hopped on TRP. I did a GTA RP. And I caught the bug, and that was it. I caught the bug and then just did RP on GTA for a whole ton. Eventually got sick of that. Or it just got a little, for whatever reason, I stopped. And Hanny, who I think is a part of the staff on Wild, was like, man, you got to come to Wild. You got to come to Wild, because he used to watch my GTA RP. And then eventually I came to Wild, and it's just been, it's been a wrap since then. So that's how I got into it. I was doing art, and then needed to continue providing content somehow to the people. Someone said roleplay. I always loved acting, the idea of acting when I was young. I love storytelling, and you kind of get to do that through roleplay. So that's how I got into it.
By the way.
By the way, Mills, I'm gonna call you Mills because I can't pronunciate your name.
All right, yeah, sure, that's fine. Mine's kind of, I guess, a little similar to Peppo, but different. So I make music, in like my free time. That's what I do. I make music, and I had a friend who was streaming. He makes music with me, but he was streaming playing Red Dead RP. So I clicked on his stream and I was watching it, and he was playing on Wild West RP. This was a few years ago. And he was talking in his chat, and I mean, I already loved Red Dead. I loved the story mode. Um, I'm a huge fucking cowboy nerd, so I really like Red Dead. But he told me to give it a shot and just to apply, so I did, and ever since then, I've couldn't stop.
Gotta say, for the quality of roleplay on this server, there's so many people who are new to roleplay. It's crazy to me. But Ryan is not new to roleplay. Ryan, how'd you get into it?
By accident. I think my first ever roleplay experience was in Armor, on an Armor roleplay server, and I just went in thinking I was going to play go around shooting people, and then I got banned because apparently you're not supposed to do that, and you're supposed to act like it's real life. And so I joined another server and started trying, and that's how I got started. And then I moved on to GTA, because I was up until last year a police officer in real life. So I wanted to just go and cause some havoc, fuck some shit up. And that's why I started roleplaying, so I could do something a bit different to real life. So that's how I got started. And that was back in like 2016, 2017, something like that.
You said you were a cop in real life. I actually sat up straighter, just so you know.
Yeah, no longer. So you don't have to worry. Also, you're on the other side of the world.
This is true. We have the same old lady on our money. Hey, Monkey, how'd you start?
I started roleplay with live action roleplay about I was 18, so like 20 something years ago. But yeah, I got into that because I was I really wanted to be an actor, and I was doing a lot of acting, and I sort of viewed LARP or roleplay as a form of like improvisational theatre and a good way of like practicing designing characters and getting into characters and changing my voice and changing my physicality. And then I'd always done like online roleplay, mainly with stuff like Armor, Daisy, Conan, Ark, etc. But I hadn't done any in forever. And then I came across a video of this just astoundingly annoying Australian character. And I just fell in love with this world that turns out was WildRP. Applied immediately.
Whoa. Annoying?
I just got
That took you that long?
I thought you were that someone else.
No, I found your
Okay.
videos. I found your videos.
Okay.
And immediately I was just like, fuck, man, what is this place? Originally, I thought it was because there's quite a few YouTubers who obviously have like private servers and the whole video is done up like it's all improvised, but then it turns out actually it's not, and it's heavily edited and structured, and everyone's sort of like in on it.
Still get accused of that, man. I still get accused of it.
Yeah, I bet you do, because there's so many examples of that. So when I first watched a few of your videos, I was like, oh man, this looks too good to be true. So then I found Wild, applied for Wild, and the whole way through the application, I was like, I'm just waiting to get told like, okay, this is actually like this is a really deep, fake thing, by the way. You can't get in, it doesn't exist. And then I got in, and then I just got fucking hooked, man. I originally got in to WildRP just to do a bit of roleplay as a bit of fun, and now it's like all I do, for like 6 hours every single day. I'm just fucking hooked. Thanks to the quality of the roleplay with people like yourselves. Yeah, that's how I got into roleplay.
Well, I'm glad you did. In my opinion, roleplay is way, way harder than acting just because you have a script. Improvisation is very difficult. And it's all improvised. All of it. I can guarantee you.
Are we allowed to disagree with the host?
Absolutely.
I do
Oh,
disagree.
okay.
I
Yeah.
disagree.
Can I disagree on that?
Oh, roast
And
me,
just
it's fine.
all right.
Stop
I
asking
always
you.
felt that acting you need talent, but when you role play, at least the way I do, and the ways a lot of us can do, you react. So you're in this world, this make believe world. Things are happening in real time. So as long as you react to things and you immerse yourself in the world, you can get away. Whereas, in like one of the reasons I hate metagaming is not because you get an unfair advantage or whatever. It's because whenever something's already happened and people tell you, you actually have to rely on talent and actually act and make believe that you're surprised. Whereas if things are happening to you real time, you just need to be a human being and react.
It's natural, yeah.
And so in that sense, I felt that role playing is always a lot easier. Whereas, in a script, so and so died, you gotta be sad. It's hard to be sad, and pretend. But when things happen to you real time and you're really surprised by something that just went down, it's a lot easier to pretend.
I agree
I
with
guess.
you in that sense, except for I think you underestimate how difficult it is for people to do things on the spot.
I mean, it's a different talent. I mean, there's actors that can't, they legit can't, or refuse to, and then there's actors
Yeah.
that prefer to do improvisation. So it's a different skill altogether. I wouldn't say it's easy. I wouldn't say one is. They're both not. They're not easy either of them.
It's a combination of skills.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
the conversation you and Peppo had today, and you can see it on Peppo's VOD. The conversation you guys had today, had that been scripted, probably would have been just as beautiful. But because it wasn't scripted, you literally had no idea. Yet you said some iconic lines. You'll see someone do like a monologue just off the top of their head in the spur of the moment. And a lot of actors can't do that. They need the written word. You have to be part writer in order to just kind of come up with things off the top of your head. So I do agree. If I was told tomorrow at 3:00 you have to be sad, that would be more difficult than just being sad because something sad just happened. But I don't know. People who improvise to me are just uber talented. And I think it just takes a lot of skill to be able to work off other people and chat and just say the lines. Just think of some of the iconic moments that have happened in roleplay. And none of it's scripted. It just happened. I don't know.
I think
You
a
wait
lot.
until Hollywood's. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
I was just going to say, I think a lot of the hard part of role play, and role play it's difficult for a lot of people. But I think the hard part comes with trying to make it work in such a bare bones world. Obviously, it's not like the real world where everything is living and breathing. We're still in a video game, and it's trying to make a storyline last. Like with Christine or Mama or whatever you want to call her, there's been spikes of so much activity happening with Baz and Tommy and Eugene and all these things, and then all of a sudden when that all goes away and people die, it just drops off, and then you have to figure out how to make her story continue in a world that's not as living as what it would be in real life. That's the part I find difficult. But then all of a sudden, you meet new people, new things happen, and then it spikes again. So it's those lulls that make it difficult, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. 100%. I find, yeah, pretty much what you said. Like, it's the hardest part for roleplay for me is when big people in your character's arc go, or lots of them go, all in a very short period. You end up just like sat there for a while, like just almost just like treading water, like trying to find your character's new direction. And for me, the only way I figured out how to continue my main character's story was actually to walk away from them for a month. Because I was fucking clueless, and that's definitely one of the big struggles. And there are people who are really good at it, who like you almost like you watch them and are like, man, this person never is out of ideas. But yeah, for me, that's definitely the hardest part is when it's quiet, like you said, is trying to figure out like, where do I take this character? What would this character do in this situation? Like, what can I do to like not only just be entertaining, but also to have fun, obviously, because at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, then it's sort of like your energy and drive to keep going sort of like wanes. But yeah,
Exactly.
those quiet periods are fucking tough at times.
I don't. I stick with one character and that's it, because that's all I'm good for. But if I was to make a new character, I always start with a voice. I don't usually come up with an idea for a character until I've got if I don't have a voice, I don't do it. So I started off RPing with literally my own voice. I can't do voices. So I started with my own voice. What do I sound like? Well, I sound like a bit of a British cunt. Can I say that? Yeah, I can say that. I sound like a bit of a...
Fucked.
Exactly. I sound like a bit of a cunt. So I made a real asshole called Cedric, who ran a general store and just called everyone names. That's what I did. And then I got a voice changer and fiddled around, started pretending to be a girl in my spare time, because that's what I do. And then I found Christine's voice, and I kind of molded the character based on that. And that's how I do it. I always start with a voice, then what do I think they would look like? And then just insert them into the world and see where they go from there.
Thank you. Apparently I was muted. Hopefully that's fixed. So there's just a little silence there while I was yakking away. Mills, how do you come up with a new character?
I guess it all depends. I usually go in very bare bones. Like when I made Mills, I played on other servers before, so I had a lot of characters before. I wanted to make like a young, when Mills first came into the cross, and I wanted to make sure he wasn't a criminal, but he wasn't law abiding. He was just kind of in the middle, and I got swung into like the criminal underworld when just how his story was going. But I had this whole like backstory written out for him when I first made him. He was an orphan, yada yada yada. But like I realized soon, like when I first joined, like you don't want to go around telling everyone like, yeah, this is my backstory, this is what happened. And like you just gotta, have those moments in RP shine out. So like up until just like a month ago, like in December, like Jack, you know how close Jack and Mills are. Jack had no idea Mills was even an orphan.
No
And, like,
idea.
and they had like this very special moment up in Saint Denis where Mills was like, yeah, this is where I grew up. And it was like the very shitty area. I found out, you can make a backstory for your character, but when you go and just, like let people find out who your character is, I think that's the best way to go about, your character's story.
That's the worst. Whenever you like bump into somebody and it's the first time meeting them, and you say, "Hello, how who are you?" And then boom, all of a sudden they start reading bio.
My family were killed by orcs. I'm avenging my father. This was his sword. And it's like, oh no, please stop.
And you can tell they're like reading you a memorized bio. It's like, I don't care. Like, boring. Next. I love in-game lore. Give me the in-game lore. Give me the in-game. That's so much cooler. Like finding out Mills's in-game lore was so much better than finding out that he was an orphan was so much better months after we had already developed a strong bond, and it just happened by happenstance.
Yeah.
I love the in-game lore, like the stuff that happened in character that people have seen, that the viewers have been a part of.
I'm waiting for him to profess his love for you. That's just
It will happen.
That's what I'm waiting for too.
The Mills?
Yeah, Mills.
I only love myself,
man.
But you might as well go, Peppo. How do you create a character?
Mills, were you done? I'm sorry. I feel like I talked over.
No, I was just gonna like put in one last point. Is like it's the same thing. I think if you're gonna start a character, you should just have the very bare bones. At least is how I would do it. you know, I made the choice that he's not an outlaw, but he's not lawful. And then, you know, he ended up meeting Jack and Peter Gray and all these people, and he got tied in. I think just letting it develop naturally is how I go about creating a character.
Pat?
Well, I guess I go now. When I first met my first character, Renee, I think it's really important to play to your strengths. And I knew I could. The one thing I could like convincingly act was being upset all the time, being angry, like fake angry. So I just made a character that was just always angry. How you doing? Doesn't matter how I'm doing. Don't ask me. Who the fuck are you anyway? You know, that's what I did because it was easy to role play that, and I already knew what the name was gonna be, Renee. I thought that was cool, kind of a feminine name, but it's like some very machismo aggro guy. And I never gave it much thought after that. I just had the name. I think the name is very important. I love that. You gotta have a good name, one that you enjoy, and then just play out for your strengths. At least that's what I did. Anytime I've tried to sit there and come up with a character and a backstory, it's always flopped hard. It's always flopped hard. And then eventually when that character got promoted and I took a break for a little bit, the name Jack, I just knew for a long time I wanted to play a character named Jack. And then I found Kettleman from a book by Louis L'Amour, who's a great Western author. And that was it, Jack Kettleman. And Renee, and they're pretty much the same character. One's just a little bit more polished than the other. But I'm kind of like what Ryan said. I only play one character. So I just made one type the whole time. And that's pretty much it.
I gotta disagree. Where's Bobby Dixon at? I know there's a lot of people who love Bobby Dixon.
Bobby Dixon, my ass.
Yeah, it's about the best meal I've ever had.
Wait, Bobby Dixon your ass?
I just got that.
Bobby Dixon, Schmobby Dixon. Voices, that's I can't do a voice for him. You know, I didn't like the voice that he had. So, because when you make a different character, people expect you to have a different voice. And if you're not a voice actor, you're pretty much fucked. It's like, it's always going to be the same person. So is his voice going to be any different?
I'm not a voice actor. I'm not a voice actor.
Your voices are all very different, though. Like you can differentiate you.
Yeah, but I only just started doing this. I mean, fuck, if I could do it, dude, I would just do my voice constantly all the time for years.
Dude, the funniest thing was I made my new deputy character, and like I was like voice acting to my chat, and I was like, all right guys, I think I finally got my voice. He's gonna sound like this. No one's gonna know it's Mills. I go into the bank. Tommy Two Snakes is in there. I'm like, howdy there. And I'm talking like that. And he goes, oh, what's up, Mills? And I'm like, fuck.
Damn. What about you, Monkey?
So I work. Yeah, it could be a long answer. I'm trying to think of a shorter way of doing this. But so I normally come up with a bare bones concept of who or what a character is. Then I design them visually. So normally that involves lots of because I'm a costume designer as well. I do lots of mood board work to try and figure out like what the character looks like. And for me, the core part of that process is their silhouette. So I always design characters that are recognizable at different distances, and different characters, how far away you should be able to recognize them. That changes. So with Solomon, I wanted his profile and silhouette to be recognizable at quite long distance, even from far away. If someone was to like look over on the on the horizon, they'd be like, "Oh, it's Solomon," because of the shoulders. The coats are always the same length, and then the hat. And once I've designed them visually and I've come up with like a skeleton background, I never write a full background. I write like a couple of like bullet points, and then everything else I kind of like expand upon through roleplay. But I always find I in the same way as I think Ryan said, I haven't actually found I don't find a character until I find their voice. And I tend to do that by talking to myself as the character, which as a result has a lot of my neighbors assuming that I'm insane. So I was, I mean, in the case of Solomon, I mean, it's no fucking jump for anyone to figure out where that voice came from. I watched a lot of Peaky Blinders, and I always thought that the character of Alfie Solomons was probably the best thing about that show by a country mile. I can do the voice pretty much to a T. So I thought it would be quite fun to use that voice in a game. Although the thing with Solomon, he was never designed to be a long character. He was designed to be the character that I learnt how the WildRP server worked. And then here I am, like 5 months later, still doing the same voice, which is like a happy accident. But yeah, for me, same as Ryan. Until I've got a character's voice, I don't have the character, because the voice to me dictates how they behave as well. Because voice and inflection and tone and like how much emotion is or isn't in the voice, all of that for me like feeds everything, like the backstory, the mannerisms, behavioral traits, emotional range. So yeah, for me, it all starts visually, but I don't know who the character is until I found their voice, which sounds incredibly dramatic, but that's probably because I am.
Hey, the right outfit can make an entire character. Speaking
Oh,
of
no.
outfits,
I agree.
especially hats. In
Hat.
my
Hey.
opinion, the hat, okay, for the Wallaby Kid is just a thing of beauty. But Verts, how do you
Yes.
create a character?
I'm gonna sound like I have no idea what I'm doing. I've got 3 characters, which would be Baz, McLeod, and Wallaby Kid. Baz was essentially created by my chat. They picked pretty much everything about him. I didn't even have a voice for the guy. I didn't have a backstory for him. I just jumped into the server with the look and developed him over time, and then came up with his backstory as I went. McLeod was made in fucking 5 minutes because me and Moon just decided one night to do Pigman, and he was drunk, and he's just like, just make a circus guy. I'm like, all right, I'll make a fucking circus guy. I made McLeod in like 5 fucking minutes. Moon came up with the name Clarence McLeod. The only one I ever put more than 2 minutes of thought into was the Wallaby Kid, and the only thing I really had was the look. The look was important. I remade him several times and jumped into game, walked around with him a little bit, checked out some animations on him until I found the look I was happy with. And then I needed a voice, and I had a previous character named Les who I wasn't using anymore, but I was happy with the voice, so I took that voice and just chucked him on the Wallaby Kid. And again, I didn't come up with his backstory until maybe a couple weeks playing him, and then I kind of came up with it. Except for the hat, I did have an idea for the hat. Other than that, yeah. Yes, I don't have any plans. 0 fucking plans. Baz was the most popular character I had, and it was Chat. Chat fucking created him. And originally, Baz was not even supposed to be a soldier. Supposed to be a fraud. Like, he wasn't a soldier at all. He was pretending that he was a soldier, and he actually didn't have a missing eye. He had a perfectly normal eye, but then that changed over time because it worked better. But yeah, I don't plan shit. No plan.
Yeah, see, I prefer that. I know there are role players out there that like write pages and pages and pages of backstory, and good on them, but I couldn't be bothered. I don't know if I have parents or if my parents are dead until someone asks me in game. And whatever I tell them is how it is, you know?
Oh yeah, that's how most of Baz's like backstory happened. Was me just reacting to people and acting. And that's how it just came together that way. Like, I had no idea what the fuck he was doing. I just knew that he was. And then the whole and the whole Oglethorpe Dingleberry thing, which was just a fucking joke.
Okay, can we just love Trenchmouth for a second for always correcting you? Always.
Yes, he's amazing. It was just a fucking meme. And then I decided, you know what? There's a reason why he says it. Why does he keep? Because obviously he's not. I don't want my character to be stupid. Like, he gets. He's just being a douchebag at this point. How do I correct that? Oh well, he was responsible for his death, so he kind of just pretends that he's still alive, kind of thing. It just came together that way. And again, I didn't even have Baz's voice. I didn't have Baz's voice down until maybe a couple months before I killed him off. Even Peppo knows. We went back and watched a VOD from months ago where I met Jack, and Baz don't even sound like Baz in the clip at all.
Yeah, it was wild because at the end your voice was so much deeper, was so much more honed in. I think so
Yeah.
much better too. So
Oh, yeah.
much better. I almost couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I think it's
Hearing your
because I was
voice
getting
in the
more
early
confident
scenes.
playing him. Like, because I think what was holding me back for doing different voices was it was a confidence. I don't think I can do other, so I don't want to embarrass. But because I played that character for so long, playing a character a week or two to kill him, that was the traditional play. Like I know Peachy, back years ago, you'd play a character for like a couple of weeks. This whole GTA Red Dead thing where you play characters for months is a new thing that's only happened in the last few years. So this is the first time I've had a chance to develop a character over months. So it gave me confidence over time by being around so many good players to actually start experimenting with my voice and trying, being too concerned about stupid.
I don't want to cut you off, Bertz, but your voice is cutting in and out like a noise gate or something.
Just a
Is
little.
it?
Like I understood everything you said, but
Okay, hold on, let me fix
chat's
that.
going on and on about it. But actually, he's right, because back in the olden times, servers used to wipe on a regular basis. Like, even if you didn't perma your character, the server would wipe. Like Reign of Kings, Rust, Ark, all of those things. Like, the entire server would wipe and it would be a new season. So everybody made new characters.
Is it better, by the way? Is my voice not cutting out now? Is it okay?
That's fine, dude.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
now.
I just turned my gate off. I had it up because I didn't want you guys to hear the fan.
Honestly,
It's fine.
you're overthinking the fan, man. Honestly.
Yeah, it's not even bad. I want to speak on the thing about like Baz's voice, because I know when we first met Baz in like the Kettleman gang, his voice it was like more high pitched, and like that's why I think it's important, at least for me, when I go in with a character, just like development wise, just like learning who the character is, because Mills was gonna be permud. When I first started him, he was like Dust Monkey said, he was a character that I was just gonna start off WildRP with, get a feel for things, and then just go on in. But I ended up getting flung into the Van Horn conflict, and so much happened. But Mills's voice back then, like it used to be so, like I cringe when I watch like old VODs. I was really like talking back in my throat, and like I hate when I look back at that. But now, like I'm comfortable with how he sounds now.
I was really lucky that I got to meet Baz as AJ on the first day he was on the server, and I was there the day he died too. But I was on at Kipper, yeah. Literally got to see your entire journey, and it was amazing.
Well, Baz's first day was basically just my voice. It was just basically me, and he was one day character. Back because my chat. I'm cutting out, aren't I? I can tell.
You are.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Stop overthinking the fan, man. Just turn it off.
It's not the fan. It's my fucking internet, bro. It's my fucking internet.
I thought it was the noise gate doing it again.
No. I've turned the gate off. As I was just gonna say one thing, that motherfucker. I'm watching the green circle like blink on and off, and it's so frustrating.
Can understand what you're saying though, even though you're clipping.
Next question. I'm gonna try and fix it while you go to the next question.
This was a perfect question for you, but we'll start with someone else. So, have you ever walked away from an RP situation and just felt like a complete asshole, like IRL? Now,
every day.
You're asking us lot?
Yeah. Now, I will give you a quick example for myself. I played a general in an army on Ark, and this guy came in, and he was a private in the army, and he had an animal, like a creature. And in Ark, people love their creatures, on his shoulder. And I was like, what the hell do you have on your shoulder? Like, he was out of uniform. I reamed him out, made him throw the animal in the corner, and then I shot it. I killed the animal.
You arsehole.
She was an asshole though, but I literally felt really bad. I really did. That was Gooch TV, actually. I think you've RP'd with him. He's a lovely fella. But,
Gooch.
Yeah, I did, and I did feel like an asshole. I really did.
I'm
IRL.
back.
I still did it though.
Listen,
Monkey. Actually, Pep. I think Pep.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna go ahead.
What was the question?
Have you ever walked away from a roleplay situation and felt like an asshole?
Oh, okay.
So, Pep, I really want to know what you have to say.
What? Like, you're playing a crim. At some point, you're gonna have to piss somebody off. you're a criminal, and you always want everybody to enjoy. But at the end of the day, like everybody is your friend, and at some point you're just gonna have to be a bit ornery, a bit rough around the edges. I can tell you so many times whenever like I finish the session, I spend the rest of the day like sitting there on my couch, stewing, feeling terrible, wanting to like, hating myself, my guts. But it just kind of comes with the fucking territory. You just gotta suck it up and you just gotta make it happen. And just know and just trust that the other person understands that it's role play and you hope they can take it. I'll say this, especially in the war, because a war RP, it's conflict. I think is so juicy. It's so good for storytelling. It's so engaging for viewers. Anytime it's popping off, the chats go live. People love discussing it, how things are going to end up. And to this day, one of my favorite RP that we've done up until now was the Kettleman Gang versus, and I think Mills, you agree with this, versus Van Horn and Gavin Summers and Johnny. That war that we had back and forth, that was so good. But in order for that to take place, they had to constantly be the assholes. And then there were sessions there where we had to be the assholes. But like, and that's one thing that you really feel it with the absence of Gavin Summers. Like, to have a strong character, because Johnny was the type that always knew he could take it. And I think he knew that we could take it. So we were able to go at each other in a really cool way. To this day, people talk about like those Van Horn days. They miss them. And I think there's definitely been a vacuum since that's been done with a little, a strong opposing force. And I think you get that feeling a lot more whenever it happens during wartime. The rah, we're going to get you. You got ours. And 100% feel like that all the time. But I will say, if you're a little sensitive about that, maybe don't engage so much. Don't engage so much, because when you're engaging, like I want the person that I'm RPing with to know that they can come at me as hard as they want every day. Doesn't matter. Come at me, like get your scene. Like you need opposing forces. Gandalf had Mordor to fight in front of. In Game of Thrones, you had these great villains like Ramsay Bolton and Joffrey. You need like these antagonists, and the cool thing about RP is you can be the antagonist for someone else, but from your perspective, you're the protagonist. So
exactly,
that's my 2 cents on that.
I mean, you guys heard it here first. If you can't come hard, just make a character that like sells milk or something. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Because I say this, sometimes people are like, if you're gonna fight, you gotta check in with the person. It's like, don't check in with me. All right, just know that whatever you do to me, I'm gonna do back to you. You giving me the green light. There's like sometimes people that want to like, hey, I'm gonna, cut off your toenail. Is that all right?
I said no toenails. I banned toenails.
I'm gonna pistol whip you on Tuesday. Is that okay? Like, do you need a Band-Aid after it's all done? We're fucking doing war RP, man. We're fighting. We're criminals.
Oh, I 100%
Come at me.
agree
Let's
on
do
that.
it, guys.
Never,
What if someone
ever.
wanted to chop your head off, Pepper? Do you want them to message you?
Don't take off limbs. Don't take off limbs. Just let me keep my limbs.
Oh, yeah, don't ever message me and ask if it's okay to perma me.
I'll
Don't
put this-
ask me. Just let me roleplay it.
Because it's the worst when someone comes at you hard and then they go, oh, but I don't like being tortured. I don't like being attacked. I don't want anything missing. It's like, motherfucker, you just came and like pretty much, did all this stuff to us. What do you mean we can't do it back to you? So, anyway, I'll just leave it there, because it's the worst when they have to reach out to you and then they spoil their surprise. It's like, we want to be surprised. As a role player, it's fun to be in those situations and not know what they're going to do, how far they're going to take it. And you're like hoping, please don't do it. Please don't. And being on the edge of your seat like that, are they going to show mercy? And I can't tell you how many times I've always been disappointed that they didn't go harder.
There's always ways to
Thank you for
roleplay
listening
around it.
Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. If you're coming at me, come at me, man. Come at us. Shut us down. All right, I'm done. Thank you.
It was a good TED Talk.
Sorry, I was reading Kono's comment in chat. I think Verts should go next. You ever feel like an asshole, Verts?
Oh, by the way, look, hold on. Before, let me just finish. We've got it so soft that the #1 crime is taking hair. It's become a meme. What type of this is the mild west, man. The number one way to attack people now is to take their hair off. That's how bad it's going, guys. Haircut is the number one. Every criminal is giving everybody haircuts. They're putting out hits on deputies and then they give them a haircuts. Give me a break. Enough haircuts, guys. If anybody haircuts me, I'm decapitating you. I'm cutting your head off.
You got no hair, bro.
I'm slash me cutting your head off. All right, I'm kidding.
Touch his mustache.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh, I was just gonna say,
Isn't you tired of haircuts? We're fighting a war and we're cutting hair.
Mate, show me the fucking haircuts, will ya? Fuck me.
Go on.
We're going to war right now, Pepe. We're going to fucking war, bro.
Let's go to war, man. No more haircuts.
I would fuck you up, dude.
I get Big L doing it, man. He's got to follow the damn law,
you
man. But the rest
my
of the
streamer
criminals,
privilege, bro. You underestimate my streamer privilege. I'll fuck you up.
Listen, leave me one eyeball and leave my limbs.
No, I'm taking both eyeballs and your fucking arms.
As long as like it. Okay, I can use it then.
Mate, don't underestimate fucking limb RP, bro. Fucking knee injury Baz was fucking gold, okay? But let me digress.
I woke my brother.
I've just come to the conclusion that I'm a bit of an asshole. So I don't usually feel like an ass.
A bit of an asshole.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a bit.
Interesting.
There's only one moment where I remember feeling fucking bad, and that was when I killed fucking Hank. When I shot Hank and I found out that he permed to it, I did feel bad. But other than that, I can't think of anything else that I felt bad about.
Can you reenact that scene?
Dude, I just walked up to Mama. I'm like, I'm just taking you, and then I'm like, oh, I heard that. Because Effie was there. I'm like, I heard your husband shot Pip in their head. And she's like, yeah, I heard about that. So I'm like, I just took out my fucking Navy. I just shot this random fella that was standing there minding his own business. I'm like, there, now we're square. And he fucking permed. I'm like, fuck. I felt bad. I'm like, why didn't he just roleplay a shoulder injury, man? Everyone else does. The fuck? That's survivable, right? Headshot? Back me up here, guys. We've shot everyone in the fucking head. Everyone survives.
I don't know, brother. I think you are the end, brother. You gotta get banned for that.
There's a little bit of power gaming too.
I'm hard, man.
I'm not saying too much because the other night I also killed that one of Watt's characters. So I'm just sat here like,
dude. What do you mean power gaming? What the fuck are you talking about?
You power gamed him, bro. Damn.
Mate, you want to talk about power gaming? We should talk to Ryan about how he blasted some fucking guy's head off with a shotgun. That's what we should be talking about.
What? When?
Oh, yes.
Up in the fucking snowy mountains, mate. I know about
that person come at me with if you come shooting somebody, then yeah, I had a shotgun in my hand.
How do you roleplay when you got no head?
He didn't. He died.
he didn't.
Has a shoulder wound. Should be fine.
It's a good time for Ryan to answer the question.
Yes.
Do you ever feel like an asshole, Ryan?
Never. That's it.
You should.
No, I'm joking. No. Christine is a bit of a bitch. She can be a bitch. It's just her nature. But I think a lot of Christine's story is that she toes the line between being lawful and knowing what's right and wrong, and also trying to please her family and do what other people say. And so there have been a few times, I know Ember's in the chat, or she was, when we threw her off the Bacchus Bridge for being a snitch. I felt bad out of character for that, but similarly it's Ember, so I don't really care. But I can't say it. It goes back to what everyone else has said. We're here. If you role play, if you get yourself into a position where you're going to be in a war with someone, then expect things to get a little heated. So I can't say I do feel bad. And that's it.
I'm proud of you, although Mama is mean. Mills, what about you? Ever feel like an asshole?
Oh no! Stop!
What?
Dougley. Someone just said in chat, Dougley. I felt bad for that.
Oh, please.
No, Christine was, number one, dealing with an infection. She'd been fucked by a bear a couple of days before. She was dealing with severe infection. And so and so she was a little crazy. And then Tommy gets involved, and when Tommy gets involved, things go to shit. And blowing up that, because I like Dudley. I'd met him in character a few times before. And he was always nice to me, but you get carried away sometimes. Sometimes you shouldn't. Maybe it was too much.
That's because
Out of
Moon
character.
is just a power gamer in general.
Moon's a bad influence. That's
I agree. He's very bad influence.
Did you just blame a bear attack on why you blew someone up?
Yeah, I feel
No,
like
an
it's clutching at some straws here.
infection.
It wasn't my fault. It was the bear's fault.
It was
the
the
bear
bear.
made me do it.
She got attacked by
Oh my
a bear.
God.
Therefore,
No, wait.
she just blew someone up with
you
dynamite.
know what? Forget it. I don't feel
No,
bad.
listen. Did you check any of that RP out, Verts? Because it was great. Ryan was running around in a night dress.
Oh, I
Acting,
did see
insane.
Crazy Mama. I was actually hoping that was gonna be like Mama's final form. Like she was just
Oh,
gonna
it
be
was
the
great.
crazy old Mama lady. I was hoping that's where she was gonna stay.
Yeah, I should have. I enjoyed playing that, and it would have been good. But
I saw a clip of you. There's like a shootout, and then Mama just comes running over a fucking knife, just stands there in the middle of this fucking battle, and she's like, "What's going on?"
Fantastic. Okay, Mills.
All the time, all the. Sorry if you hear my wind in the background. It's,
You're fine,
anyways,
dude.
all the fucking time. Like, recently, Baz is dead. Jack left the crossing. So like Graham and I, Claytone, Mills, we would walk around the crossing just being complete assholes to like everyone that they would talk like this person's the big head in the crossing. We would just go up to them and just be complete assholes to them, just like pushing for RP, just like please fucking knock Mills out or do something, just trying to drive some RP. But no one would do anything, just because I don't know if it was just because of the respect of the quote unquote Kettleman gang, and no one would want to touch them. But like this last month, we've been pushing just for some RP to come out. Yeah, criminal bastardry. We would, we stole the fucking Christmas tree from the Valentine Saloon, and we would just do like all of these criminal bastard things, and we would really be pushing people just for someone to fucking push back and step up to us. And it didn't really happen, but it finally is starting to be that way, where people are like, who the fuck are these guys? They fuck these guys. We're just gonna knock them off their pedestal or whatever. So all the time.
Does anybody know who had sex with the Christmas tree in Valentine?
what the hell?
I was told it was.
Where'd you get that from?
In
Everyone
character, I
says
was
it's
told it was Pip.
in character. I don't know what happened to that Christmas tree, but
See, I met a crazy lady on Christine who told me that she was sexually aroused by the Christmas tree. So I went in there and put a note up saying, "Do not have sex with the Christmas tree." And I was told in character that Pip went in there and had sex with it.
That poor.
Yeah,
Oh, look
it
who's in
was-
the lobby.
Everyone
Oh, is
does
Pip
say it.
here?
Bring him in. He can explain himself in front of
Well,
Conan.
I want to elaborate one last time on the. Oh, Pip is here. Pip, did you fuck that Christmas tree?
I did not. Fuck. Fuck a tree, all right? No, there's no tree.
Before we leave this topic, I just want to make one more point about the whole, like, whenever you feel terrible. I'd say one of the worst things that I would advise somebody not to do, and maybe I'm just too sensitive, but the worst thing you want to do is when you know something didn't quite go the way you think it should have gone, do not, for the love of God, go and just, see it from the other person's perspective. Because I know if I even read one comment that's even like mildly kind of salty, it like crushes me. It breaks my heart. I'll think about it
Same
for
here.
like 10 days, hate myself, want to kill myself.
Oh, you
And
get over that.
so,
you
but
get over that.
so I would say recommend do not, under any circumstance,
Yeah,
go.
that's-
I know
yeah.
you want to see it from the other perspective.
If that's
but
the case, Peppo,
it-
don't watch any of my VODs after I've interacted with you, like, ever, okay?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And one more thing. Sometimes a situation doesn't go our way, and we might emote in that moment and say, "Man, I can't believe this happened." But I guarantee you, with like 90% of our peers, that's just in the moment. We just express because we're human, and like 5 minutes after, the next day, we're completely over it. And I think sometimes there needs to be understood that if something doesn't go right, a person might say something in the moment because they're emotional, that they're heated, not to take it personally, and that the next day it's all gonna be friendship again. I just want to put that out there. We're human beings, man. We we get emotional sometimes. We say or emote, but we don't mean nothing personally to anybody.
Especially when the adrenaline's up as well. Like it's a really tense fucking scene. Something goes on. Like all of us, I'm sure, have been like, "Fuck,"
Hey,
like
listen. There was an actual person in Vert's chat who changed their name to Kill AJ.
That sounds right.
Fuck, man. Fuck.
You gotta my one advice to anybody who's
I got a great community. Great community.
You gotta grow a thick skin, man. I don't know how many
you
times
absolutely do.
I have gone back and checked out a VOD and just checked it out to see how it went, and I see in chat that I'm a clout chaser, that I'm a stream sniper, that I'm betting, and various B words and all sorts of stuff.
I always find it amazing, like your character happens to find another character when it's like when you've got the upper hand on them, for example, and then chat is like, how did they find you? They must have mettered. And it's like, or random acts happen and people cross paths at like not always great times for one or both parties. Like, Jack can get a bit weird on that one. But reference walking around situation feeling like an arsehole. At the start, a lot more often. Nowadays, a lot less. The only time I really feel really shitty is if I do something to a character and then I find out later, like, oh, they permed, and you're like, oh fuck, you know what I mean? Because like I don't mentally go into a situation like, yeah, I hope this person permers. So when they do, it's like, oh fuck, man. Like I hope they didn't feel like I was trying to force that on them, or you know what I mean? Obviously, it's their choice, but a voice in the back of my head is always like, I hope they made that choice because they felt it was the right thing to do and not because they felt they'd been put into a little corner where they had to. So I killed Watt's character the other day. They permed, who also played Hank. And I definitely felt a little bit bad.
That guy has
permed to me too, man.
I know. He was in chat earlier saying 3 of you have permed my characters. So I did send him. So we've chatted like on Discord before. So I sent him a little message and I was like, I'm really sorry that you permed. It's like I didn't mean you to. But he's fucking sound as a fucking pound, man. But that's definitely the one time that I do feel bad when I find someone permed or like, they've like decided to bench their character for like a month, and it's like, oh fuck, man. But other than that, I don't feel bad.
Before we go on, I just want to bring up the prime example I just thought of because Davey's here as well. I want to shout out the fucking Rhodes community because Clayton, Pip, and Mills have been just antagonizing the shit out of the Rhodes community. Like we rob every store they have there. We just want them to hate us, and definitely feel like an asshole in Rhodes.
But
that's the question, by the way, Mr. Pip. Davey plays Pip, by the way, on the server, and thank you for showing up super late. But
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you came. Now, have you ever walked away from a roleplay situation and felt like an asshole IRL?
Yes, many, many, many times. Most recent one was probably Bass's funeral, where me and Nelson got into a little bit of a tiff, and I ended up basically telling her to fuck off from the funeral. And I felt like an absolute dick after that. In character, there was reasons for it, but out of character, I felt awful.
That was great. That was a great moment. Christine was stood right behind you, just eating a popcorn, watching it all unfold.
That was a lot of fun. I was such a jerk too, actually.
I remember.
I'm so glad to hear that my funeral was very fun for you all.
I remember Christine dancing now doing.
I was literally about to be like, Christine started dancing during that song, and I was like,
I wanted to get up and just be like, I'm alive, bitch.
I did get up.
Should have gave your boy a signal, man. I think for all we knew, you guys had a special dancing bond.
Yeah.
I did get up because the fucking server kicked me for being AFK.
That AFK thing is frustrating.
You just have to move something in your inventory and that goes away.
You can't really. And you can't open your inventory when you're
you can't. On the floor. You can't. When you're But they said that if I press K quickly, twice, that
Yeah.
I'd ragdoll again and it'd be fine. But that didn't work either. You actually got to get up. But then I got up and I still crashed anyway. I still got kicked anyway. So I
You
don't know,
gotta
that's a
you gotta be careful with the ragdoll so it doesn't go ooh ah ooh ah.
Can other
I-
people
I-
hear that though?
Yeah.
I don't think they can hear it. Or they can.
They can. I wish it didn't happen.
Oh dear.
Ooh.
I do hate that, especially when you just like want to trip or something and you start making those weird noises.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question. Do you ever hesitate to do something in RP because you're worried it might offend people?
no.
See, I actually have. I wanted to roleplay a battered woman once, and I thought that was going too far in roleplay. I did think it would
Why?
be funny. You know, Twitch is sensitive. I don't know. I
It's
just
fucking role play. We're
I
role
thought it
playing
would
as
be really
murderers,
great.
for fuck's sake.
that's
What,
true.
so killing people's okay, but you're a battered woman? No, it's too offensive. Get the fuck out of here.
So you've never thought of anything that you wanted to do? But
No.
you thought, no, it's too far.
No, because I'm not a douchebag, and I know I'm not gonna say or do something that is bad. I'm just role playing a fucking character. I mean, listen, I'm playing McLeod, which is a piece of shit who has done some horrible things. I'm sure a lot of people don't like, but too fucking bad. It's a fucking character. You know, people watch movies where characters do far worse things, and they pay money to go see it. You know, it's not real life.
I'll say this.
Unless you're like being racist and shit, that's different. But the fucking characters, you shouldn't be scared or handcuffed to create your character.
I will say
like I said, we're
this.
playing
Bert,
murderers.
you played. I remember once there was this scene, and Pip, you were a big part of this scene too, where you had a PTSD breakdown.
Yep.
And you didn't overtly say it, but I wish
Yep.
I still had the VOD just so you could read the chat, because there was several people that actually had real life people that had like PTSD, that they were suffering from it, like veterans. And and I don't know if you had experience, if you studied like the effects to play it off so well, but for the next like hour or two, man, there was like serious heavy discussion that completely pivoted off what was happening on the screen, and people were talking about PTSD. And I feel, see, in those situations, like, if you turn it into a joke or make fun of it, it can kind of go off the rails really quickly. And I think is that what you meant, Peachy, about playing a battered woman? You mean like a woman that's been
I
like
really
beaten
wanted,
and abused?
yes.
Is that what you mean?
I truly wanted to play like a proper character that was really had battered woman syndrome and just like stood up for her husband and said she tripped over stairs, and like I wanted to play it straight up. I didn't know where it would go, whether or not she would just always defend him or rail against him, or someone might talk her out of it. I just think that would be an interesting character to play.
That would be so powerful in the server if it's right.
Roboting, hun.
Oh, am I still? Hello.
Yeah, you've gone full Dalek mode.
What about now? I think I'm back. No, I'm not.
Very,
Right,
very Dalek.
Come back to you, because I think what you were saying was pretty cool. I could hear part of it, but I just think that it would be amazing to play that.
I'm talking too much.
No, you dude. I talk way more than you.
I was gonna say, well, like what Vert was mentioning, though, he's right. Like, if you watch a movie, everybody's okay with watching a movie with a battered woman or people with PTSD, because you have a team of writers, and I feel like what happens is you kind of give the responsibility, the burden of like responsibility is now on the writer. But God forbid, as a RPer, you want to improvise all of that. Now there's like this grand responsibility that you have on your shoulders, and everybody that's ever gone through trauma, it's like you have to represent them correctly. It'd be nice if we had a little bit more freedom from that perspective.
If you play it with respect, I don't think you'll have a problem. I think it's once you cross the line and try to make it like when you're making fun of it or something like that, then you might have some issues. But if you're playing it with respect, I mean, hell, just I'd say no. Don't. If you start thinking about how you're gonna reality is, no matter what character you play, you're going to offend and upset somebody. So don't overthink it. and don't box yourself in like that. If you want to try and please everybody, you're not going to have an interesting character.
Yeah.
That-
But also, it's like just if you're thinking of playing anything you think might be offensive, just avoid like the shitty or cheap or comedic stereotypes. Like if you're leaning heavily into like I'm white and I decide right I'm gonna play someone from China, and if I do that with like playing into all the really shit fucking like racist stereotypes, yeah, don't do that. And if you're designing a character with any of those shitty stereotypes in mind, like stop, don't do that. That's not like, oh, people are being too easily offended. Like, no, you're fucking playing into shit. Don't do that. But if you're going to something with tact, with love, coming from the right place, and someone happens to be offended, that's going to happen, man. Like, there's not really a whole bunch you can do about that. Like you said, Vert, man, like, you can do anything and someone somewhere's going to just choose to be offended by it. But
do you ever worry about it yourself, the monkey? Have you
ever
ever stopped yourself from doing something?
No, I've never stopped myself from doing anything. At least not so far. Like, I've never been like, oh, I'm gonna do this as this character, and then I've been like, oh, maybe I shouldn't because someone might be offended. I think most of the reason as well is when I'm in my characters, I'm in their headspace. So I tend to just I lean into stuff, and then it kind of plays into the previous question. Like sometimes afterwards, you're like, oh man, was that too far? Like, did I I feel like a bit of an arsehole. Maybe I shouldn't have said that or done that. But in the spur of the moment at the time, I've never thought of anything on the fly and then not done it because I thought someone might be offended.
I could bring up. Oh, go on.
No, sorry. I'll finish off things and you can jump in. But it goes back to what Verts was saying. Like, people will happily consume, like in brackets, like professional entertainment media format in terms of films and TV and games where there are horrible themes and characters, and that's I think that gets a lot more leeway than sometimes we do. But again, as you said, Peachy, that's because there's a writer's room and there's producers who go through everything to make sure that okay, this has all been written with tact and delicacy, and it's not going to offend anyone. Whereas we are on the fly.
And that's why Hollywood sucks, dude.
A lot of it does, man. A lot of it does. I've worked for
They water everything
studios.
down.
Yeah, but that's a different discussion about being.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, and stuff. No, I agree with you.
Once you're trying to please everybody, dude, it's just
Well, it's death by a thousand cuts at that point. A great story becomes a shit story because in the editing room, someone sits there and goes, no.
Yeah, I'm not saying like stuff that aren't edgy or whatever can't succeed stuff. It's but when you start overthinking stuff and boxing yourself into what you can and can't do, you're just limiting the content. So
I was gonna bring up there was a conflict that I didn't want to get involved in with the this involved the Kettleman gang, and I know a lot of people remember it. It was when we were gonna be going to war with Wapiti, but it wasn't more so of the fact that we didn't want to go to war with them. It's just it's happened in the past where people have warred with Wapiti or any of the tribes, and just chat will make it all they'll say quote unquote natives or something, and it's just a bad look. So that was one of the reasons why we didn't, or at least Graham and I didn't touch that conflict.
But don't you feel like in that situation it kind of just it handcuffs character a little bit? You're doing something out of character for your character because of out of character reasons?
Yeah, and the whole thing was tough. I mean, we had conversation with the people who were RPing as the people we were going to be attacking, but I don't know. I was more so after that conversation. I was more so down, and I felt a lot more comfortable with doing it. But then bullheaded and shit happened, and that was just pushed to the side.
Dude, we should just gone up there and blasted them, bro.
Yeah.
They're just another gang on the server.
100%. I agree with that. No, I agree with that.
If I may, I got 2 cents that I want to add. I think when you are role playing, it's really important, at least for me, where to find chemistry when you're vibing with another RPer because there's certain things that I will say and do with one RPer that I won't do with another, just because you learn kind of who's comfortable with what and who can take what. You know, not every character comes and says, let's fuck them dry. You know, so whenever a character comes says, you know, we're going no lube, we're going in, you know, we're gonna fuck them dry. That's a clear. It's like, all right, that's how I vibe with this guy. Or if someone is coming and, you know, they're dragging me through the streets, like, all right, you know, I can vibe with these people in this way. Whereas other people might be a little bit more sensitive, and, you know, you kind of watch yourself around them. Because at the end of the day, you know, you are trying to, on some level, make sure that people are enjoying themselves, which is impossible at all times to do it, because we're human beings, we're going to slip up. But I think chemistry and rapport, you know, goes along. Because there's been times, you know, you say something, you're like, I can tell they're not feeling it, so I won't do that. I don't say those things again or do those things again. So definitely, there's the, you know, I'll say certain things around certain people that I won't around others. And I think we all do that, even on a subconscious level. And I think that's important, building the rapport with your fellow RPers and kind of building that chemistry.
Yeah.
By the way, what do you think, Pip? You ever stopped yourself from doing something?
I was just thinking about it, and to be honest, yeah, probably subconsciously, yes, I have. But I can't think of any specific circumstances where I've just decided, no, I'm not going to do this, or even, like you said, hesitate. Usually it's just in the back of my mind, okay, you know, don't be offensive. That's me, though.
I will say, whenever Pip, you know, starts putting the stupid bow tie on and starts dancing, I am wildly offended. Especially when I'm in the cell in front of him, stuck, and I gotta watch.
Ryan, do you have
It's
a voice
right.
yet? Can you tell?
I think so. Hello? No.
Ryan!
Oh,
Ryan's still a robot. We
We
can
have
all
to put
just
him down.
role play. You said something really profound and interesting. If you like, we can do that. That was a great point, Ryan. Thank you.
My God.
Monkey, did you speak to that? I don't know if you did.
The offensive thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Verily, I did.
Poor Ryan can't talk right now. So we're going to go to the next question. I really wanted to know what you had to say, though. So if it comes back to you. Okay. I actually love that you're here, Bert, because I like your answers to most of these questions. Just no. No.
Yeah, well, it's how it is. I'm probably offended so many fucking people. Like, it's, you know, I'm not going out of my way to offend people. Like, I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to say this or do this action to offend anybody. At the same time, I'm not thinking about the individual in chat. You know, it's like whatever.
You know, it
yeah. You're muted again, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, you guys didn't need to know that. It was really very profound. Anyways, how do you deal? And first, I'm going to go with you first here. How do you deal with backlash from the community or from other players?
I just abuse my chat. Oh, the community, as in backlash from people on the server?
Yeah, you must have. Well, not even necessarily on this server, because there's some really good role players.
Okay.
But you know the message you get from someone that goes, "Why did you do that?"
I've never had one of those, but the only time I've felt a little bit of backlash is when I play McLeod and I'm running around calling. I'm talking about the freak show. Most people will play along with it. Like I love how Davey role played that with me. Dude, the way that Pip reacted to that whole thing was some of the best interaction I've had in response to the show. But that's the only time I've ever felt like people are like a little bit iffy. Not so much on this server, but definitely on my last server. You know, it was a little bit of tension there, but the answer's the fucking same. I mean, unless I'm clearly doing something that's out of my way trying to be offensive or whatever, I just keep going. And unless the admin comes to me and tells me to fucking stop, and then I'm doing something wrong, I'm not gonna change my role play or change my story or my character or how they speak or how they act because of one particular person. I mean, I haven't had much of a backlash at all. I don't know.
You're blessed. I have literally been pulled into a Discord with the entire server community and been yelled at by
Yes, it
everybody.
happened. Yes, it happened. Thank God.
Yeah,
I wouldn't handle that well. I wouldn't handle that.
I did not handle it well either, and I'll give you the circumstance. So it was a pirate season. We were really playing very badass pirates, but we were late to joining the server, so we wanted to make a splash. We went around and we robbed just everybody. Now, when I say that, we only took a little bit of fiber. We did like rob them and leave a note, and the note said, "Fuck you, the Black Pearl." And that's what we got shit for. The note wasn't cryptic enough. We didn't leave like a secret clue. We were too abrasive, and they found the word fuck offensive. And that's what they were mad about. I was shocked.
Wow.
I was just like, what? We're fucking pirates. We're pirates.
But you can't use the word fuck?
Yeah, we didn't rob any of their bullets or cannons or anything. We just took a little bit of fiber. Like it was a mock robbery just to make a point that we could rob them. And yeah, that's literally what we got. Because our note said, "Fuck you, the Black Pearl." Oh my God, Kono just got in trouble for a bad.
Thank fucking about time. This guy's been just same shit in the fucking chat. Can we get rid of him permanently?
Yeah, I can't believe this guy.
Yeah,
Wow.
he bullies everyone. Comes in here.
I want to drag him into a mod meeting and start talking to him.
I do have to take a second here. For anybody who doesn't know who Stepdaddy is, he plays Pearly on the server. Pearly is a fucking fantastic.
Oh, Pearly's
character.
amazing.
I love Pearly.
Pearly is the greatest. I just this low key character that's always around. You know, he's great. Always good for roleplay.
Yeah.
But anybody else want to talk about any big backlash they got from a server?
I can tell you some stories with Renee. When I used to play a character that was like Jack, but 100 times worse. And I used to call it tunnel vision back with that character, and I used to get paragraphs upon paragraphs upon paragraphs, and yeah, and some of them was warranted, and some of them was warranted. How do you deal with it? I would just suck it up and just move on. After a while, you realize you're like, okay, that guy, they probably hate my guts now, so I'll just probably avoid them. And then you get like another few pages, essays, and you go, ugh, I think this person hates my guts too, so I'll probably avoid them. But I actually enjoyed being that character that nobody could stand. I had like a few people close in character that loved me, that we were close to, and everybody else hated his guts. After a while, it's really easy to go, do they hate me or do they hate my character? But, it's really easy to fall into that woe is me. You just always got to remind yourself it's all on the character. How do you deal with it? I guess you just got to kind of revel in it, if that makes sense. You gotta revel in it. I think in hindsight, I think it was, I used to, I mean, and trust me, I was guilty some of the time. There was this one scene where a character was the funeral for this character. And for whatever reason, I would tell people I don't like to go to group events. And they just kept convincing my character to show up. So like an asshole, I showed up to this funeral where they were having this grand ceremony. And in a really selfish way, I just hijacked the whole scene where, because there was like 20, 30 people present there. And they're all doing this, I'm all sad / me, tear, looking at the ground / me. And ended up pulling out a knife, giving a psychotic speech on stage and stabbing somebody, and it was like
Tell them what the speech was. Tell them.
Well,
you want me to tell them?
You tell them.
Someone's got to.
You know, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The fucking the boat ride in the tunnel.
Oh my God!
This crazy son of a bitch quoted that word for word. There's no earthly way of knowing. Dude, I'm not.
What?
And then he stabbed him at the end. He's a lunatic.
Oh my god.
Guys, I played a psychotic
That might be the
character.
most deranged thing I've heard.
I played a psychotic maniac, and
Wait,
people
no shit.
are begging me to go to a funeral after I warned them 100 times not to.
If
The
I
whole
go to
thing
this
was messed up.
funeral,
A
I'm going to
dude
start
showed up.
quoting Willy Wonka at you and you'll regret it.
There was
It's on
a
YouTube. It's on YouTube. Look it up, guys.
there was someone beforehand
What
that
am I
came
typing into YouTube?
and said, "Who's Renee? I hear that you're very close to the person that's dead." I snuck into their closet, sniffed her dresses, and made pillows out of her dresses. Does anybody think that's weird?
Yes!
Yes.
Making
No,
pillows,
the
making
pillows is
pillows out of dresses.
The arts and crafts is the least weird thing you just said.
There's no earthly way of knowing.
You told AJ you wanted to bite her neck.
Yeah, what's with Jack and neck biting?
I think that's romantic, biting a neck.
I actually
they
do
look at
too. I actually do too, but it's still a little weird.
Is that really weird, IRL? Biting somebody's neck? I feel like
No,
that's so vanilla.
it's just no, it is vanilla. It's just that Jack seems to like hyper focus on necks.
I just
you
think
know?
it's corny and our people like, can I kiss your
What about
neck?
the sniffing? What about the
Yeah,
sniffing?
but you don't say kiss neck. You're like, I'm gonna eat your neck. I'm gonna consume.
What do you do? Right, slash me, press his lips against the neck.
What?
I always
Jack
think
has, Jack has a thing with necks, man. Like
I-
the
What do you-
diamond era. Like, look at your
It's so
neck.
much
There's no
nicer. It's so much,
diamonds.
it's so
As
much
well.
easier to just bite. I feel like that's so much cooler, man. You get to like maintain
He's
your
like- he's
machismo.
like biting toes and shit as well.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And
You
better
told
than
me
sucking
the other
them.
day you gotta bite her toe off.
Gently nibbles neck.
You gotta do slash me, presses his tender lips against, and like you just gotta go all in.
Oh god.
But look, you know what
Next
Vert was
arc is
saying,
Jack's a vampire.
and just to finish up the thought, you know, I was still learning back then when I played on that character, and I was just happy that I was able to do it in an environment where I was able to kind of mess up and learn over time, because I think it adds a little bit of flavor to the universe whenever you have some of those lunatic type characters. Because, you know, if you're an outlaw, at the end of the day, if you're an outlaw in real life, these are not nice people. Whenever an outlaw walks into a bar, people should get quiet. People should get uncomfortable. We don't have enough of that where like someone comes around and everybody's on edge. Because after a while, when you become friends with people that you RP, it's like they're your friends now. You know, it's hard to put them in that situation. And that's one thing that I really miss with Renee is he had that. Whenever I walked somewhere, you could feel the room change. You could feel that energy dip. And that's something that I miss. And yeah, sure, I don't get paragraphs anymore, but you know that's gone. And that feeling of, oh, this prickly bastard is here. Can we just get rid of this guy? Why won't he die? Why won't the law do anything about him? Get rid of him. I hate this. We don't have that anymore. We need that, man. We need that. Sometimes we can't just be holding hands. The universe needs those characters.
Yeah, that's what I loved about playing Creed, was walking into roads and the whole of roads would just collectively shit itself. That was like, say it's not like a power trip. It's just there's a very special like electrical feeling of knowing that like your character and their group have appeared, and then suddenly everyone is like, can I leave now? Like, how do I get the fuck away from these people? But I agree with you. Like having those characters, especially in the setting, you know, like if you watch any like classical like Western film or TV show, at some point there's always that crew that ride through town. You know, you get that like that really cliche scene where like, all the shutters get shut and the doors get bolted, and people like peek out of windows as they slowly ride through town. I love those groups. I think
Have you guys seen Liberty Valance, the man who shot Liberty Valance?
Yeah, you made me watch it on stream.
Liberty Valance is an outlaw. When he shows up, nobody's happy about it. Everybody hates his guts. I think those are special characters, and it's hard to be that character. It takes a toll on you.
It is.
It's hard to do it because, you know, obviously you're heavily disliked, you know, by everyone. But also for a character like that to work, you kind of need the wider sort of like server community to all buy into it. You know what I mean? Like you kind of like, in order for that character to be believable or to build them up to that level, people need to buy into this guy is super scary, and you know because of whatever they've done or etc., and then react to it in that way, which can be quite difficult because, you know, a lot of people, you know, will try and do the, you know, like, well, I'm not scared of this guy, and then that ends up with no one being scared of them, and then it kind of, you know what I mean? It's like for a concept like that to work, it kind of it requires like a wider buy-in from people to like allow that atmosphere to sort of to organically build. So it can be a tough thing to pull off, I think, but when it works, it fucking is amazing.
Yeah, it's hard for civs too, though, because like Kipper right now is a civ. She's not going one way or the other
Civ
as far as good
Schmiv.
or bad. And like they had bullets. When bullets go off, she cowers behind the counter, and it's really fucking boring to sit there until the coast is clear. So I get the urge to go running towards the bullets to see what the hell's going on. You know, like, but I don't. I cower because that's what my character would do. But I'd love that if you strolled into town and everybody like ran inside and closed their doors and shuttered the windows. That would be amazing.
Give me a month.
I remember people would say like, how come he's not gone? How come he can still be allowed to come back? There's Renee, like he needs to die. I really do miss that. I miss that a lot. Because people...
Just out our robot, Ryan, are you there yet?
No!
R2D2 is back.
Let's just take him around the back of the barn and just put him out of his fucking misery. Ryan,
It's been a good run.
Come with me, Ryan. Come over here.
There's candy.
Like when Jack burned that girl in the bar, I felt sick to my stomach. I felt nauseous IRL whenever she got set on fire because of that screaming that she did. I remember AJ, you were taking my character around and you were telling them everybody in the crossing was traumatized. Even the criminals that I was rolling with were traumatized. Peter Gray and Mills and everybody were like, "Holy fuck, this guy's a maniac." Nobody knows that AJ held Jack's hand, took him around the desert, and said, "Sometimes you gotta burn a bitch." That's what she told me. the hardest person, the only person said, "Who gives a fuck? You did what you had to do."
Sometimes you gotta burn a bitch.
That's what she told me. She said, sometimes you gotta set someone on fire. You throw up, you do whatever you need to do. She said, "I got your back." You remember, Peach? I don't know if you remember.
I do. Great.
That
Way
was
the
beautiful.
fuck in the desert. Yeah. It's like,
Oh, I can't believe AJ's dead. Ugh.
yeah.
R.I.P.
Sometimes you do gotta burn a bitch.
It's a great day for a French barbecue.
But I don't know if everybody answered, but I think we covered that. So this is what advice...
I think Davey was lighting up. I think he was going to
Ryan,
say something.
Pip, were you
Oh, I was
gonna
going to say something along the lines of like the psychopath characters. If you go in with the idea of, oh, this character is a psychopath, he's already fucking crazy, you're never going to get to that level if you go in and start building it up. So it's a normal character, and then, like, you know, people get invested in how normal it is, he is or she is, and then you slowly build up to, okay, psycho level. Because I think you'd be surprised, Peppo, like, people do think that, I think, around Jack sometimes, because Jack's unhinged. Maybe not as unhinged as Renee. I never met Renee, but like, yeah, like I do feel like sort of you have that.
He quoted Willy Wonka, Davey. He was fucked.
Yeah, no one quotes Willy Wonka who's sane.
There's no earthly way of
was
knowing.
nice enough to post that in everybody's Discords.
Yeah, check that out. Check that out. There's people in the background going, "Oh my god, somebody stop him!"
That would have terrified me. Because that scared the shit out of me when I saw that movie as a kid.
Watch it as an adult. It's a completely different experience.
It's a great movie, the original, by the way, not the remake. Okay, so what advice would you give someone who wants to play a crim but never has before? Me personally, my advice would be is don't come with the big dick energy right off the hop. You gotta earn your stripes on a server. Get the feel for what the hell's going on. Don't just walk into a bar and say you're the biggest and the baddest. Unless you can back it up. I'm just saying.
I kind of want to disagree. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I want to say, go for the top dog. stop trying to like if you're like this new criminal in this new place, I think if you really want to make a name for yourself, try to fuck with the top dogs, just like how the Wallaby Kid like robbed Mills, robbed Clayton,
I
robbed
robbed every
Pip.
fucking outlaw, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you really want to make a name for yourself, you could go
Yeah.
for the top dog.
And I'll tell you why that's the best way to go about it. Now, I'm not saying it depends how you play it also, because if you play it wrong, you're also gonna fuck your own character.
Yeah.
But if you gain respect from the outlaws, that's way more important than gaining respect from the civilians and or if you can get respect in the outlaw world. And a lot of outlaws will respect having the balls to go after them in a way that's not gonna piss them off. And I'm lucky because with the Wallaby Kid, because he's such a kind of goofy character in terms of he's so young and naive that they kind of see him in a different light than they would see if some fucking deep voice fucking badass dude came and robbed them. It's a different kind of situation. So I'm lucky in that regard. I can get away with a little bit more. But yeah, gain respect from your peers for sure.
UD seems to make it very fun for people to get robbed over. Like some people just rob them, and there's no fun for it on their side.
Yeah. And also, this would be my advice, and I'll let everyone else speak. But my advice would be, go into it not looking to make just money. You want to try and make it fun for the people that you're fucking over, because ultimately your job on the server is going to be fucking over people. So if you can make that fun for the person getting fucked over, that's going to go a long way.
All right, there's been an update. Peachy Coast is AFK. She's giving me the reins. So or Davey, you haven't spoken much. What advice do you give someone? Because I think his journey as a crim has been beautiful, from where he was to where he is as one of the outlaws of the crossing. What advice do you have for the crims? Someone trying to be a crim.
I kind of agree with Kason in like when I started off as Pip, it was all just sort of like a pipe dream in my head. Like, okay, he's a cabin boy, he's going to be pretty much up for everything, and without even knowing it, because I was still very new to the server at the time, the first people that he put in his sights were the Decenzos, and like I said, I agree with Kason's, and sometimes you just got to go in at the deep end, make a name for yourself quickly. Like the Wallaby Kid did, for example, as well. Can
I just say, by the way, Davey, when I fucking robbed, you're my first person I robbed on the fucking server.
I know.
And I just for the first time went back and watched the fucking VOD from your perspective, dude. Some of the funniest fucking shit. Like you walking down the street going, have you seen a kid? Dude, it was fucking hilarious, dude. I love the way you fucking played it. When I went back and watched it, I actually regret not seeing it earlier, because I would have totally put in the fucking video, dude. It was so good. He's like, you went to everybody at this fucking party, like 20 people there. He went to like every single one. Have you seen a kid? And he sounded so fucking angry. It's so good. Much love, dude.
No, I'm so glad you did that, man. That's like that brought so much fun and like a drive at the time. Oh my god, made me dance. Fucking took file lap, everything. Oh dear.
Yes, thank you for yes-anding about that. Actually, almost everyone with the Wallaby Kid just were like, did the whole yes-and in the roleplay, and I really loved that.
Oh yeah, they could have crushed me so fucking quickly. I'm so grateful.
It's a great server for that. Anybody else? What advice would you give someone who wants to play Crim for the very first time?
I'd probably say be aware of the amount of like power you have in your hand as a crim, or even like a grey civilian, I guess. In terms of like there's a lot of give and take, and like I get like some of the guys covered it in like when you're robbing someone, like making the robbery fun. Like if you're a criminal, you always want to try and make whatever you're doing, as ideally as obviously fun for yourself, fun for other people at the same time. Because if you're going into every single interaction as a criminal thinking like your personal win condition, and if your personal win condition is just like always winning every shootout and always doing every bank robbery and, you know, like not leaving any evidence for anyone ever. Like it might be fun for you, but it won't be fun for, you know, for civilians, for law, et cetera, et cetera. So just like go into everything thinking about not only what you're getting from it, but also what you're giving from it. And also bear in mind as a criminal, like it's fun to get caught. Like don't go into it being like, I'm never going to get caught ever. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you are. And actually being caught is...
Well, depends. It's not fun getting busted on a bank robbery. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, no, but like, it's not like if you get busted every single time, then like, yeah, obviously. But I mean, like, there is a lot of fun to be had in, you know, like the chase from law, the law starting to hunt you, figuring out it's you, eventually getting you, like the interrogation scenes, all that sort of stuff. Like, there is a lot of fun to be had there. So I think it's important to go into a crim with the mindset of at some point you are going to get caught, and to embrace the concept of getting caught at some point and making that part of your character's story and arc rather than doing everything you can to like ensure it never happens. And I don't mean that as an in character. Obviously, your character is going to want to make sure it never happens. But I mean from a role playing perspective, you know, like don't, you know, I think there's nothing worse than, you know, someone getting caught and then just getting like, you know, super like, you know, like salty about it or whatever. You know, because of, yeah, as a criminal, you have to come to terms with the fact that at some point you are going to get caught. And there's so much fun to be had from being caught.
100%, man. I 100% agree with you. Today,
Can't relate to
I
the
got
criminal.
taken to prison today, and it was some of the funnest like journey on the way there with the cops. Some of the banter behind the cells.
You're having fun. I watched a bit of that. That was funny.
Shout out to Grant again, literal bear.
Actually does lead really nicely into my next question. So the next question is, how important is it to be willing to lose when you play criminal?
It's a must.
Yeah, you've got to be willing to lose.
Because you will lose it at the end of the day every time.
I wish we had fucking Graham here. This dude goes out of his way to miss his shots all the
Worst
time.
guy to ever be in a shootout with on your side. He will fluff every shot and make sure that you all die and do injury RP for 1 week.
See, that's the thing, though.
I mean that as the
know-
ultimate compliment. I mean that as the ultimate compliment to Graham.
I know all of the people in here, and I know you guys are all totally fine with losing. The reason I'm asking this question is actually just for the community in general. Is the importance of losing. I think a lot of people lose sight of that. But several of you mentioned it can be fun.
It's not even just the fun. It's also can be character building as well.
Mm-hmm. So like the example I gave, I think it was Wednesday. This might be why Verts ended up jumping in on a Discord call with me. Is in terms of like the importance of losing to a character, and apologies for anyone that knows where this is going. If you compare the story arc of Luke Skywalker and then Rey, on the one hand you've got a character that suffered and lost enormously, and then at the end of the day finally like wins, you know, 3 films later. And then on the other hand, you have a character that never loses. Like, which story is more interesting? The one who has hardship and overcomes it and succeeds, or the person that never ever loses, gets everything they ever wanted, and wins at the end? Well,
That's why Superman sucks, guys.
Yeah, I agree. Superman is the worst fucking superhero.
Okay, stop. Shut the fuck up, okay?
Are you serious? You stand Superman?
I'm not getting into this. I am not getting into
Super
this.
Muppet is what he is.
He's super.
Can we not?
Indestructible, laser eyes.
Podcast,
They were scrambling. They're like, guys, they had the discussion that Dust just mentioned. They were sitting there.
I'm sorry, you muted. This is my fucking Discord, mate.
Powerful. He's too powerful. He's not dying.
Okay.
What?
He has kryptonite.
I'm muted. Look at that.
He has kryptonite, though.
Invent kryptonite and kill him.
This is
It's like the rarest thing in the like. It's super rare. This
Honestly,
barely counts.
the fact that you guys don't know that
Here he goes, guys.
is often beaten, and you don't read the comic books. Literally, all you've done is watch like 1 or 2 movies, and you think you know what you're fucking talking about. That's like someone watching one Star Wars movie and then telling Dust Monkey exactly the whole fucking story, the whole trilogy. Like, shut up, okay? But what was the question again?
How important is it to be willing to lose?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I was just gonna say, I don't know what I was gonna fucking say now. I'm flustered.
Fuck it, whoever's going next. I don't care.
This is a really
Just
good time.
just put a red cape on and
Passion.
run around. You'll be fine.
This is a good time to thank Verts for letting us use his Discord. That was very kind of him, but a reminder that he has power. He has
I was
power
just gonna
here.
say. I was just gonna say that some of the best RP that I had as Baz was when he was at his fucking worst. When he was broken, when he was physically broken, mentally broken, and he had lost everything, and he was like, that was the best stuff. Having Jack, like the conflict between him and Jack, like, you can't do this anymore and you've lost it, was so much more interesting than, hey, I just got shot, but I popped back up, I'm all good to go. Nothing hurts me, sort of thing. And dude, use the losses. Use every bad moment. Like, if you get a bad fucking moment that you don't like, spin it into fucking gold. Spin it into fucking gold. You can turn everything into fucking gold. You really can. Just use your imagination. How can you make this work for you? Not every situation is going to be perfect. It's a fucking roleplay server with a lot of people doing a lot of different things, a lot of moving parts. Yeah, it's normal to be like frustrated if something doesn't go your way or something scuffs or whatever. Okay, sure. But you can always turn it into a positive somewhere because it's a fucking roleplay server.
It's also a testament to your creativity. You know,
I appreciate that, my friend.
Because when you got injured, I told him he's not gonna last more than a day doing this injury bullshit. But you kept it going, and you gave me and I think so many of us around you so many gold scenes throughout that.
It was so good when you beat him up. That was fucking great.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Like taking candy from a baby, guys.
Literally, all I did was press F to hit him once, and then I just let him beat the shit out of me, dude. I just let him beat the shit out of me.
It's
that
character building.
Yeah, it's character building. Yeah.
One of my favorite Baz moments is when Moon beat the crap out of you. I don't even know if he did but you were lying like half in and half out of the trough. I don't think on your side you were, but on his side you were. And you were just defeated. You
Is
were
this what on
just
Moon
like,
stream?
yeah, you were just like, you put it in one of your videos too, but just your.
No, I didn't. No, that's footage hasn't been used. Yeah, yeah, I got that.
Good, like just so defeated and so done.
Yeah, I roleplayed all his clothes were taken. People stole his clothes on the street. All he had was like fucking underwear and his fucking rope belt. It's fucking bad.
I want to bring up, like, you should. Graham mentioned this to me, and I think it's really important that, like, you should view conflict or whatever it is that you're doing on the server as kind of like pro wrestling. You're not gonna always stand the person who's always fucking winning because there's no story there. You want to see someone get their ass beat, and you want to see that redemption arc where they they rise up. That's why like I think the Van Horn days were like really important in character building with a lot of our characters, like with Clayton, Mills, Kanikla, like everyone, because we would constantly get our ass handed to us and we would always be doing med RP. But when we finally like grouped up and we finally rose together and went and attacked Van Horn, this huge power, they were the biggest people on the server. We grouped up and we went and actually showed them that these people could bleed, and then we earned a lot of respect from doing that. So taking L's is very important.
I think you're just gonna fail if you have a winning attitude. Like if you just feel like you need to win every situation.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
drives
never
you
gonna.
crazy too.
It's gonna piss you off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna make a Superman comment, but I'm not gonna start that again.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
If I
Just
may,
want to point out he was a nerd. He was like a nerd reporter.
Do you know Superman's like, he's powerful, but you know that in the comics he fights beings that are much more powerful than him, right? It's not just Lex Luthor. People just go, oh, it's Lex Luthor. He's fighting a human. No, he's fucking aliens that are more powerful, dude.
let him go fight on other planets, all right?
Dude, go fuck yourself, mate. You know what you're talking about, bro.
He's protecting the world.
We've all watched Dragon Ball Z. We get it.
Let him take his funky ass
Dragon Ball Z?
powers and go where he's not Superman, all right?
Yeah,
They're,
but
they're
Goku
scrambling in the
loses.
conference room. Guys, he's indestructible. I don't know, man. Just make up some stupid rock that kills him. I don't know, off of his stupid planet.
Dude, that's not. Like, see, that just shows how little you fucking know. All you know is The Rock. Just shut up.
I was done when they said
Kryptonite.
that Superman could beat Goku. It's just.
Yeah, because okay, so
That's just offensive.
in one hand you're telling me he's too powerful, he's boring, but now you're telling me Goku wins. That so Goku's not boring because he's. Well, it doesn't make any fucking sense. If he's more powerful
No,
than Superman, isn't it the same problem?
I don't like Goku.
boring as
Just,
well.
just straight. Goku is
boring as
boring.
shit.
Always gonna win with his
You're
stupid spirit bomb.
fucking
Take his
stupid,
spirit
man.
bomb.
10
Put it up
minutes
his ass.
later,
Get him
he's
out of
still
here.
powering up. Like, what is he, an old Ford? Like, come on, just do something already.
Oh, you're delightful.
I wanna. We were talking about.
I haven't read one single comic book between any of you. Fucking here telling me.
I just want to mention one more thing. As a crim, every server needs crims, and I always feel there's always a huge lack of crims. For the first time, it's the only time there's I've ever seen a lack of crims, which is so amazing. In WildRP, there's so much civs, which is so important to the livability and the realisticness. But right now is the best time to be a crim. So if anybody's thinking about it, now is the best time to be a criminal. Jump in there. Don't expect to get along with everybody. Try to carve out a name for yourself. Go after the head honcho, like some people mentioned. Get humbled. Go lick your wounds. Stand in the dark. Find allies who have also had to lick their wounds. Gather up again, and then try to go for round 2. Try to develop influence. When it comes to the crim world, it's all about who's most influential. It's not about Jack Kittleman can't shoot a gun to save his life. He can't aim for anything, but he's going to be one of the most influential, powerful criminals. It took a long time to get there, but he's actually there. And I'll tell you guys, when you're at the top, it's not as fun as whenever you're getting there. And so, get a crew together to try to do a bank robbery. WildRP, I've messed around in a lot of RP servers. What WildRP has for bank robbery is so fucking good. There's all the separate parts. There's dynamite. All of that is a journey trying to find a connect for dynamite. Trying to find someone who can crack safes. Trying to rob a bank and not knowing how to crack the safe. It's so do that. See if you can put a crew together that you trust. And let me just put one recommendation. Don't get a bunch of friends and say, let's roll crims. Don't do that. Fuck doing that. That'll eventually happen naturally. Try to go in there. I never knew Mills. I never shared one word with K-Sins, with Vertigo before RPing with these guys. Not one message OOC with Davey. We all came together organically. That is so fun. And so many people are missing out on that. In the criminal world. Don't be like, I love this character. Let me jump in and be their friend. It'll be cool to roll with him. I don't like that as you can tell it's forced, and then you don't want to be a bad guy, hurt anybody's feelings. You're out of your head now. Get in there, carve a name for yourself, put a plan, rob a bank, get a crew that you can trust. Wait for someone to disrespect you. Get your goons and go get them. Tell them there's a new crew in town. Motherfucking Verge is doing it with one person. He's by himself. It's like it can be done. You just need to have some balls and have some confidence and know that it's gonna take you some time to understand how things work. But do it. Trust me, it's so fun. So many people are missing out on that.
And that's just a great piece of advice overall. Just let it be organic. Just try not to plan too much, too far ahead, because chances are it's not gonna go the way you think. Most of the time, it will not go the way you think in your head. So always let it be organic and just let it flow.
It took us months, like the crews like the Jack Kettleman crew, our crew is so powerful in the crim world. I think it's the most powerful fucking crew. If we wanted to, we could raise the banners and have so many riders. But the reason our crew is so strong and we have such a good rapport and chemistry is because it took us so long to get there organically. It's so much more rewarding. Trust me. That would be my big advice to the cribs. Don't roll criminals with your other friends. Get in there and search for it. Be a civilian at first, and then, be disrespected. And then be like, I'm sick of this being disrespected. Fuck this. I'm going to turn over to the dark side. I wish I could go back and start from scratch, and start from zero. It's so fun. You got to do it, guys. Now is the time. Join WildRP. Be a criminal.
But
all right, that's my grand speech.
And now a word from our sponsor.
It's a good one. I will say that speaking of bank robberies, the next question is, criminals are a great driving force for a lot of law RP, and vice versa. How do you manage the give and take between law? Because they are the natural enemy of the criminal.
I would say.
when
Oh,
you're
I'm sorry. I've
role-playing
been
with
talking
them,
too
yeah.
much. Somebody else take it.
Oh, I don't mind, Pep. We like you.
Well, I would. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, you go.
I'll just say it, like, I'm still working on this. To be honest, I'm not sure if I do get the give and take right. It's always changing. A lot of the time, I play Pip. Like, well, for example, like the last couple, I've been playing him on the run, and I've barely given the law a chance to have any RP with me because I'm playing him. He does not want to get caught. I do think, should I just allow him to get caught so that I can give them more RP? But again, I don't know. It's always changing in my head personally. And I haven't worked it out. That's my answer to this
I
one.
would say, Davey, you definitely do give because just being like a part of the Graham, me and you, like when Peppa wasn't around, we weren't hitting banks and what people were doing and what law. I mean, I played a law character and there was a super dry period where all it was cannibals and
Shoe
moonshiners.
bandits. There was a shoe bandit.
Yeah, shoe bandits, yeah, and moonshiners, and that's all you had. So like we would go out of our way to rob the Rhodes General Store, for example. There's no money in there, but we go, Cram will be like, get that crowbar, Mills, and that crowbar, quote unquote, is $200 that I'm bringing into the robbery. That way, and we make this huge scene in Rhodes. We grab a hostage. Now all the law is going to come down there. We have a hostage in there. We're breaking open the fictional cash register, and we're grabbing $200 that from our own money just to give the law some RP and to make like a server. I wouldn't say a server-wide event, but definitely something to like shake up the whole Rhodes community. So we do stuff like that, and you've been a part of that, Davey, which I think is really giving to the law.
Well, I think you all do an exceptional job at it, by the way. Because even if you don't go out of your way to get caught, when you are caught, there's always good role play. It's not necessarily about getting caught or not getting caught, but when you guys are caught or questioned, I think you all do an exceptional job of giving the law role play. It always lasts a little while. It's always entertaining. It's entertaining for them.
I'm just gonna make sure they don't leave me with a frog on. Leave Pip with a frog on him. Once he licks the frog, and that's it. Interrogation over.
And he's gone.
But how do you handle it, Solomon?
That's not my real name.
I know, but I feel weird calling you Monkey.
Right. How do I think it's really, really important to I think it's important role play in general, like the whole give and take. But in terms of crims, like as you said, your natural, like, yin to your yang, or black to your white, or up to your down is the law. I really enjoy giving and take with the law. I really, really enjoy, when I'm riding along and suddenly I hear like like a law come up and just be like, Solomon, can I just have a quick word with you in the office? And it's like, oh, here we go. I love it. I think it's really important, as I said before, as part of a criminal's journey. The law are your natural counterpoint. So there's going to be a huge amount of roleplay with or around law. Sometimes it's even indirect. Like Davey just now was saying, he wasn't too sure how much give or take he gives to the law. Pip's on the run right now, and he's trying hard not to be caught. That is giving to the law, because you're giving them a chase, and running or chasing is really fun. Especially if you're playing it the way you're playing it right now, Davey. Like turning up to the fucking cut house last night, like completely disguised, so much so that people who knew Pip were like, "The fuck is this guy outside?" And I was like, "Fairly sure it's Pip." But that is giving, because then like someone will see you and they'll send an anon in, and then the law are like, "Okay, shit, he's in Rhodes, we're on his tail again." And that's a lot of fun, man. So don't think that you're not giving right now while being on the run, because I promise you that you are. I think most of us probably manage it in a fairly similar way.
I got it.
Hang on. But the one thing I think everyone here does this pretty well, and I think it's important for anyone who's looking at Wild or new to sort of like Red Dead roleplay, is always leave details Like, obviously, there's no evidence system. You know what I mean? So if you're doing a crime and there's no other players around, there are NPCs. Just bear in mind that the NPCs are actually like living, breathing people. So details are great, and also leaving anons, like from the perspective of an NPC. Like if you stab someone in front of a load of NPCs, don't be like, oh well, there's no witnesses. Like, well, there's 5. So just send like a little anon into the lore to be like, don't dob yourself in, but give them enough to start painting a picture. That's just what I do. I don't know if that's the best thing.
Definitely needs to get better at leaving details. Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Beto.
Controversial opinion about this.
Yes, please. Just don't
About
bring
the
up
whole
Superman's name.
No. About the whole, giving. It's a little weird. It's like giving myself up. Is that really giving?
No. That's not giving.
I had this scenario where I played a law for like a week, right? And there was this one character, Slim. You guys all know Slim. She was wanted. Slim baby. She was wanted, and no one could get to her. But my character had a little bit of rapport with her, so I called her to a place. And because I had to, be a lawful lawman, she gave me RP. I went, and you know what she got in return for it? Hour and a half in prison, or like 2 hours in prison. And the whole time, but she was being generous to me, giving me the yes and the whole time I'm thinking she's being punished. Why the fuck did she talk to me? She has to stay, and she had to and then she was in prison for like the next 2 hours, and it just completely it ruined whatever momentum she had going for that episode. And I never forgot that feeling, how terrible that was. And sometimes it's like, I'm on the run for a long time. Is it more of a win for the cops if I turn myself in, or if I stay? I think if I stay out and let an investigation be prolonged, that's so much more of a win because there's a story that's continuing. Whereas if I turn myself in, I go to jail, no one sees me for a week. That's a lose for everybody as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that boat ride today, though, that was amazing.
No, that was amazing. No,
give and take.
That was fun. That was great. I'm just talking. I guess I don't really know how to make my point, but anyway,
but I'm just saying when I say give or take, that's what I'm talking about. Not necessarily giving yourself up. I just mean
because I think Pip was being really honest, saying I'm not really sure how that works. I'm not really sure how it works either, Pip, Davey. What do? We turn ourselves in, and then what? They do paperwork for 20 minutes, and then we don't be seen for like the next 3 days.
I'll tell you what I did with Wallaby Kid. I wouldn't say I was trying to get caught. Literally not trying to get caught. But also leaving things make it interesting, because eventually I don't think you need to try to leave enough clues that's going to make it easy for them to catch you. But you need to make it interesting for them to investigate. And I think there needs to be more investigation. So what I was doing with Wallaby Kid, I'd leave like little like silly things that, like, for example, leaving like Wallaby Kid carvings like in roads, right? And then I got a Wallaby Kid carving at his hideout, so you could connect that to him. I was leaving notes for the like taunting them that they're never going to catch me, that they're too slow, they're too old, they're never going to get me. I also sung a song to Weaver as I was robbing him, and then I sang the same song as Joey to McGregor, and even though that he didn't connect it, they could have easily. So I wouldn't say for me, I don't want to like help them catch me faster, but it's there. But I want to interact with the law more than just when they catch me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So my goal with Wallaby Kid was to have interaction with law as much as I possibly could, not behind a cell, not behind the bars. That for me, I think is important. I think a lot of people's relationship with is just on the run or in jail and nothing in between, really. And I think we got to find a way to like bridge that gap.
And make it fun for them. Yeah. I did a podcast with the Law of WildRP, and Righty and Bert was on it. The guy who plays Marty, and Coxie who plays O'Malley. It was great. Like, they love it. They love it. They're not out to get criminals, like out of character, like, but in character they are. But being able to search for someone, being like, that was their number one comment, was just leave us clues, leave us things to like chase and like take up their time where they get to actually investigate. And God bless McGregor the other day, who's played by Orcish's character. When you got caught, I guess it was a week ago or something, when the Wallaby Kid got caught, and I think Solomon it was a shootout between you two. And he allowed you to not be the Wallaby Kid. And I loved that. I loved him for it.
Oh,
He
is this after Solomon shot me?
Yeah, when you guys had that little
Right.
back and forth.
When
and
he
they
was
were
screaming
immediately
around
like,
saying, "I've caught the Wallaby Kid." Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Hey, when the Wallaby Kid rode off with Solomon, tell everyone, it's
Yeah,
the
but don't
Wallaby
tell
Kid.
but don't tell everyone in town that I'm the Wallaby Kid.
You
While I'm there.
Tell everyone, but don't tell everyone.
I was using a
subtext
different.
here.
I was using a different voice and dressed differently as Joey, you dickhead. All right.
okay, leaving that aside, I just loved that Orcish's law character allowed you that. Everybody
love
knew
Orcish.
you were the Wallaby Kid. You know, like it was obvious you were the Wallaby Kid.
Some people were better than others at giving me that. Not everyone's perfect. Some people, no matter what like efforts I went to try and separate the two, they just wouldn't accept it. As if it was absolute fact, which I don't think they could have come to that conclusion. But there's people that are better at it than others. But we've all got our fucking like I've made a lot of fucking stupid mistakes as well, and it happened. But you just try and do the best you can with it.
But yeah, it's the beauty of roleplay, though. Sometimes, like in the heat of the moment, you might say something and be like, "Oh fuck, man." Like shit, I shouldn't have said that, whatever, because like it might impact someone else's story, or like it wasn't the right thing to say at the time. But yeah, like you said, man, people fuck up. You just gotta roll with it.
Mills, you got anything to contribute to this before we move to the next one?
I just, I agree with what Dust Monkey was saying. I think that it's important to kind of sometimes niche on yourself with anons, but not like blatantly, it was Mills. You just,
I disagree with that, dude. Dude, Law's always going to get the arrest, bro. They're always going to get the arrest every single time. Why has it got to be faster?
I think if you're doing something, but no, I think it's to an extent. So, like for example, we'll go cattle rustling with Clayton. There's no way the law's ever gonna find out about that.
Okay.
You just say like, oh, I saw a group of 3 people. One was wearing a long black coat. He might have had blonde hair, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean as well. Like you don't, as Kaysen said, you don't literally put in there, I just saw Solomon kill a guy. You just put like, oh, gentleman with like a beard and scar on his face, and that's it.
And just to be clear, I don't think you should go fucking try hard and not try to get make mistakes, right? But actively like making it easier for them. Dude, they always get the okay. What's the average like crime to arrest ratio? I'd love to know that.
That's a good question.
That would be interesting.
I feel like people don't get away from longer than like a day or two.
I don't know, because I mean we've never been arrested for bank robbery. We're 17-0, so I don't know.
Maybe you're not you're sending enough fucking anonymous messages, K-Sins. Maybe get on top of that.
I would argue that actually the crime to arrest ratio is probably lower than we think it is.
I think
Are you nuts?
Hang on.
Anybody that does a crime is going to prison, man.
If we all listed every single crime our character had done versus the ones that
but a lot of those crimes are from people that do the crime, log off, and don't come back for like a fucking month.
No, no. I said if we all list the crimes we've done.
Oh right.
Versus the ones we've been arrested for, there would definitely be a lot.
Everything.
Yeah, okay, fine. He'd fuck the ratio, but I think most people, like, okay, you might have been arrested like a few times, but versus all the stuff you've done, I think it would definitely be an offset.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I think the arrest rate is quite high. Once they get you in that fucking office, you're arrested.
Yeah. I mean,
not been arrested yet.
Let's just be honest. We're in Sisica every other stream.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, if there's... I mean, I think the clearance rate IRL is like 30% or something. I think in Wild it's like 95%, and there's no fucking evidence.
It's not 95%. There's no way.
Dude, when they get you in that fucking room, how often do you get out of there?
Every time.
That's because you don't do anything.
Fuck you. I've done loads of shit. I just
Solomon gets everyone. He gets these lackeys to do everything.
No, I don't. Solomon, if anything, I get told off by my lackeys
man.
being like, let us do some of the shit.
Stooges. Maybe I'm just not good enough. I'm not good at talking out of things, man. I don't know if I fucking tell you.
But it's also different though. Different kinds of characters. Like Solomon doesn't see himself as an outlaw at all. He doesn't want to make a name for himself. He's organized crime. He's business.
What the fuck are we doing
So,
wrong,
like-
Ben? Pepos.
But it's not.
no,
It's
Solomon,
not. It's not
I'll say
different.
this.
It's not
Solomon-
different. It's not wrong. It's different. They're very
Solomon's
different.
got people that'll do the dirt for him and take the fall, but whenever the time came, he took the blade for his partner. So there's like this little beautiful where he's like the dad. He takes the bullets, but when need be, they'll do the dirt for him. Am I correct in that, Solomon?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like there was a bank job. So when the cart started out, in order to get the funds to get the businesses going, we did all the like OG outlaw crimes. Fucking highway robbery, bank jobs, and on one of them, the law were getting too close, and the agreement was if they get too close, someone's going to jump off a horse and basically allow themselves to get caught, to give everyone else enough time to like just bounce essentially. And the guy took the fall, man. And when he came out, we did this whole everyone gave that guy their cut instead. They were like, boom, you've done your time. Here's your reward.
Well, let me ask.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna ask Davey a question.
Go
Because
on.
Davey, I think out of all of us, he's the most active, and I think he does the most fucking crime out of all of us.
Oh, easy.
Davey, when you do a crime, what's the average time before you get picked up? Like if someone sees you or anything, like what's the average time you can like get away from a crime?
If someone sees me being like, what, the law?
If law knows it's you or suspects it's you, how long does it usually take for them to get you into fucking jail for it?
If I'm not doing like what I am at the moment, which is pretty much
Yeah.
hiding,
Yeah, when
then
you're
it's
hiding, when you
not
just-
not too long. I'd say at the very most. Usually, on average, it's probably about 3 minutes.
It's tough. I'll tell you the worst part, guys, is whenever you're like, I'm gonna include everybody. You be giving, and then you just end up in jail that much quicker. You're being reported on by like so many different folks, and it's nobody's fault. It's just the nature of the way things are set up at the moment. But
Well, I would like to ask Monkey, how many times has Solomon screamed out during or after a crime, "It's Solomon Walker, baby"?
Fucking never.
I've heard
He takes
both
people.
Jack Kettleman and the Wallaby Kid did not hide who they were.
Whoa! I hid in plain
Tell
sight.
everybody it was the Wallaby Kid.
Yeah, but they didn't know who the Wallaby Kid was.
This is true.
They didn't know who he was. I was walking around
but-
roads, skipping around.
But again, that plays into the differences and the nuances within the criminal world. You get like the outlaws, who some of them their motivation is fame, money, recognition.
Yeah, well, I'm
like
fucked,
the
dude.
Wallaby Kid.
Every crime I
or-
do now, like I'm getting pulled in like the same day, instantly. I'm fucked.
like today, for example, I logged on and I went to Armadillo, which was probably not a good idea. And there was law there, and I had a head start, but the law saw me, and there was you're getting busted. There's 5 horses. There's no way you're not gonna get busted. And like I said, it's nobody's fault. It's just the way things are set up right now. That's just the nature until something is figured out, because it's really hard to prolong being on the run. I guess it's a little hard to prolong it once you're seen, just because the world is so small,
Yeah.
and it's a tough situation at the moment.
It gets fucking lonely as well. Fucking running around on your own, like
Being in hiding is the
people.
worst.
Yeah,
AJ
yeah.
was in hiding for only 3 days when the fight between Van Horn and the Kettleman gang started. Only 3 days I hid out, and it was boring. It was really boring. I really hated it. I had to avoid people. I couldn't go into town. I don't know how you guys do it all the time. I really just, it sucked.
I think I just bounce
Okay.
around between people.
Now, what has playing a criminal taught you about yourself? Which I'm very intrigued about. However, I did only say you guys had to be here for 2 hours. We've hit the 2-hour mark, so if you want to bounce, feel free. There's like 3 more questions.
I just want to say up until now, I've really enjoyed the questions you've asked, and I want to thank you for putting this together. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, same, Peachy.
I'm just impressed I managed to get 6 streamers in the same place at the same time. That's
like herding cats.
Herding cats. But I am interested. Has playing at Criminal taught you anything about yourself? I will tell you what it taught me about me. I haven't played one on the server, really. But I've played some pretty dark, badass characters on other servers. And what it taught me is, one, it's fucking fun. It's really fun. Because I get to do and be and act a way that I would never do in person. So I'm a pretty nice person. I'm pretty typically Canadian. And it's just a lot of fun. So I that's what I learned. I have an evil streak deep down inside, and it's fun to play one. But what have you learned, Pip?
Similar to yourself, like I'm quite a I feel like I'm a bit too nice to play a crim sometimes. I think about it way too much. I overthink things. But however, I have learned that I do enjoy it. It is fun as long as I commit to it and don't take it too far. Everyone has fun, and I'm happy. But I don't. In answer to the question, though, I'm not too sure what I've learned about myself. Not too sure. I'll have to have a think about that. You might have to come back to me.
What about you, Monkey?
Learn about myself. I don't know. Actually, that's a difficult one. What have I learned myself? Slightly too willing to stab other players. No, that's a hard one. I think in terms of like role play, I think if we look at what role play is talking about myself, I think definitely with role play has. I'm reframing your question. I think it's helped me be a lot more confident in myself, like day to day. Not necessarily like, I've been role playing for ages now, so I'm talking about like the overall arc of role play rather than like specifically just in Wild. But definitely role play has helped me because like my job before I got into costume and prop design was international sales. And weirdly enough, role play helped me be a much better salesman because I just started role playing like I was a successful salesman, and then like I got good at it. So in that aspect, role play, but playing a criminal. I don't think it's taught me much about myself. It's helped my range in terms of acting and voice work. So I guess maybe that's what it's taught me about myself. It's a hard question, though.
Did I stump Peppo?
No, I'm just waiting now. I feel like I'm talking too much.
Fuck off. I tell you if he's talking too much. I'll DM you and say, shut the fuck up.
I'll say that in real life, believe it or not, I'm very reserved and shy. I mean, when we're streaming, we're in our room and we know that everybody's coming to watch us, kind of likes us. So I'm a lot more comfortable, more gregarious, more loud. But in real life, I'm pretty shy and reserved. And sometimes I think to myself, like, man, maybe I should just be a little bit more of a go-getter because, you're surprised whenever you're more open and confident, I guess, for lack of better words. Things happen, things go your way. And I know we're playing in a make-believe universe, but you're still trying to, do you see shades of what people do? For example, I'll give you a really good example. I'm terrible at negotiating. I am the worst negotiator for any sort of deal. And that will reflect in roleplay. I can't RP a great negotiator because I'm not good at cutting deals. I'll always cut the worst deal for myself. I don't have the patience for it. Like whenever I would RP with Baz and we would do any sort of business, he's great at negotiating. And that's something that reflects in real life. And I guess in some ways you can practice skills like that in game. But, with Jack, him getting the troops together, rallying, getting people together, sometimes, that happens and you think to yourself, I guess these are skills that I can apply in real life somehow. Yeah, I guess these are my points. Thank you for listening.
I liked that. What about you, Mills?
I think, Peppo, continue.
I was just
on.
gonna say it's nice to go somewhere and go, howdy, motherfuckers. That's not like we don't say that in real life. We don't go in the room and say howdy, motherfuckers, but kind of nice to do. I think people like it too, hearing it.
I'm just gonna feed off of what Peppo said. I'm like, believe it or not, like I'm super fucking introverted, IRL. I'm very quiet, but like he said, streaming and playing like this Billy badass character, you build up like you got to be extroverted to play that specific type of character, and I think it corresponds to real life. In terms of being just a little bit more outgoing, because like I said, I'm super introverted, but I think like he said about the howdy motherfucker thing, like you can't do that to anyone, but it just
I live in
just
Australia, mate.
Yeah, I better say, dude.
howdy
When you come to
cunt.
England,
Okay, I get it.
there we go. He knows. He knows.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that's just my point. It's just streaming and like playing like a Billy badass character has helped me be more extrovert.
Well, Mr. Verts.
Fuck. I don't know. Just how fun it is to play a fucking prick. It's great. A lovable, and the challenge of making a likable bad guy is so fun in itself. And it's challenging because everyone wants to play the fucking bad guy. Like, how many times have you heard interviews about where the star wants to play the bad guy? They want to play bad guys. But I tell you what I've got most out of it, and I haven't really thought about learning about myself. What I've got most out of playing the characters I've played, the friendships I fucking made out of the server. I've made friends that I'm gonna have for years to come away from this. When this game's like in the past, like I can see myself being friends with Peppo for fucking years. Like I've made some really cool fucking friends, met a lot of fucking people.
Amen.
So I mean, I wouldn't say I learned a long time ago I'm very good at playing bad guys. So what I got most out of it is just meeting so many fucking awesome people that I fucking love. Like honestly, it's been amazing. I love this fucking server so much.
Yeah. Same.
It is
Good year
packed
there.
full of talent.
Yeah, and eventually when I play Law, I get to meet more fucking cool people. But, I've met a lot of the Outlaw players, and they're all so fucking awesome.
I would say right back at everyone.
Except for the Civs. I don't really want to meet the Civs. Fuck them. Fucking fence sitters. Yep. Oh, favorite to play?
Yeah.
Wallaby Kid. Wallaby Kid is the funnest to play. Baz was a criminal. Wallaby is just a pure, like, outlaw, like, robber. He's so fun to fucking play. I'd even put McLeod there as well. McLeod is so fucking evil. That's also fun. But Wallaby Kid is, in terms of just fun, yeah, head and shoulders, because he's so carefree and that's so fun to do and not have to, there was a point where when Baz eventually became an outlaw, it became about if I do this, who am I going to piss off? If I do that, am I going to upset somebody? Am I going to piss off this rival gang? If I go to this meeting, I got to say the right thing? Or this could fuck up the deal. So much things you have to think about. But when you're playing a character that doesn't give a shit about anything, I don't have to think about anything. I just do things. And that's so fun for me.
I don't know, man. Today was the first time I saw the Wallaby Kid in a tender moment, and you probably didn't feel that way. But when you shouted down to Peppo's character that I don't even know what the wording was, but it was something about having family will just hurt you every time or something.
Yep.
And I just was like, oh, there's a little chink of likability in the Wallaby Kid. It was really brilliantly done.
He's deeper than it seems, and eventually down the line people will dig into that for sure. But yeah, so fun to play.
What about you, Pip? Who's been your favorite criminal to play and why?
Well,
Or
I would
Pip your
say.
first one?
No, Pip isn't my first one. I've been role playing for quite a while. Pip is my first criminal in Wild. The character that I did before was supposed to be a criminal, and he went in at the deep end and got fucked up. But the reason why he's my favorite is because it was just a completely fresh idea that I had in my head that I came up with on the day. Brought made the character, made the backstory, got into the character's mindset, and then it's just organically grown and grown and grown. And I feel attached to Pip because I've watched him grow, and I've allowed. I'm so glad that I started streaming with him because so many people have been able to watch him grow as well. Yeah, he's my favorite just because of how organic he is and how fresh the character was in my head and how much fun I have playing with him. It's such a fun character to play. I can get away with a lot, and I love it.
Yeah, I was just saying the other day, actually, that I loved that you still stick up for the captain, even though you killed him. You literally still respect the captain.
It's a pirate thing. I feel like he was his best friend, but at the end of the day, he fucked up, and Pip always knew that if he wanted to be the captain one day, he'd have to mutiny. So.
Oh, is that right? Was that part of Pip's history, like his psyche?
Well, no, it was more to do with just the pirate code that I guess I had built in my head. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then the black spot thing. I'm glad I did that in was it our Treasure Island, because I think he really respected that. It's just bringing a bit more pirate lore. He knew what it was immediately. It's not like I planned it before with him. I just showed him the black spot and he knew exactly what it meant.
My absolute favorite was the pirate I played, which is where Kipper originated. It was my first Irish character. And I've played her and different versions of her on different servers, but I freaking loved her. Like, she just did not give two shits and would just shoot before talking. She was fantastic. It was just a lot of fun. She really just was very aggressive, and it was a lot of fun to play. What about you, Monkey?
I've played so many. I mean, Solomon and Creed are probably the first like out and out criminals I've played. I've played lots of like not good people before, but they've not been a criminal. You know, like I've done like roleplay from like the Dark Ages, medieval era, cyberpunk, Lord of the Rings. So there's never been like a criminal. There's been like mercenaries or an Uruk-hai or whatever. So it's the first time I've done a criminal. So it's been like a bit of a learning experience. But I've loved them both for very different reasons. But I think to touch on what Vert said about why he enjoys A Wallaby Kid so much is probably the same reason I enjoyed Dr. Creed so much. Is that because the story arc of Creed was that it was only ever going to be like a short sort of like month-long arc.
And less complicated, right?
Yes, so much like I didn't. With Solomon, every action you take, as you said, is like
as a reaction.
Yeah, if I do this, it's going to do that, and then that will upset this, and then I've been working for the last 4 months to really shore up this relationship, and doing this potentially to destroy that in a few seconds. Whereas with Creed, it was like I give zero fucks about anything at all, and I can do whatever I want, and it was really, really freeing. Especially going from Solomon straight into Creed, it was like kind of eye-opening. Like, fuck, actually, wow, I haven't got to worry about any of this stuff. And that's what made it so fun. It was just so liberating just to be able to go around the crossing and be like, I don't give a shit about any of this. If I want to go and if I can rob or stab or try and eat that person, I can, and it doesn't matter if their friends don't like me because I don't give a shit. So yeah. So they've both been huge amounts of fun for wildly different reasons. So it's hard to pick a favorite really, because they both, for me as a role player in terms of my own enjoyment, they both tick wildly different boxes. So yeah, it would be a draw between the two of them for me.
What about you, Mills? You played a bad guy before?
Have I played a bad guy before? I have on other servers, but I mean, just the story that Mills has been through. I gotta go with Millennials here. I've played on Wild West RP, and I was on there for quite some time, like a year and a half probably.
Did we roleplay together?
Maybe.
Maybe. I was at Fifi, the Bap wench. Just to give
I don't know. I
facts.
played a character that was like, I don't know if you ever heard of it. The group I was in was called the Big Valley Vigilantes. We were like, I don't know. We were like some vigilante group. I didn't like the character at all, but like once I got to Wild, like the amount of RP, like the RP here like really stepped up how I approach RP, and I'm gonna shout out Graham the Gibbon. He's really helped me with like stepping up my RP too when like I first met him in character. So yeah, definitely Mills though to answer that question.
See, it doesn't surprise me that it's all people from WildRP. This server really is generous to allow people to explore characters and build on them.
Can I, before you get to the next question, can I throw a curveball question?
Can, but do you want to hear Peppo's answer? It's going to be
How about
Renee.
Peppo? Oh, I thought Peppo already answered. Oh, he didn't? Okay,
He
go ahead,
didn't,
Peppo.
But it's going to be Renee, right?
I'll say this about Renee. After, just because of what a difficult character he was for others to deal with, I kind of convinced myself that he was terrible and he was no good. And I gotta say, very recently, he went back and he watched some of the VODs and he reached out to me and he told me what a great character he was. And I tell you, I didn't really get that from almost never. I can't remember like one person. Really, like I never got nice things ever said about him, but I just knew I loved the character and I loved playing him a lot. And I think about some of the stuff that I can't really do with other characters that I would do with him that I miss. And Vert reaching out to me like that made me think, you know what, maybe he wasn't that bad. Maybe everybody else was being a little bit of a pamby. And I really love. And thank you. I appreciate. I want you to know how far that went. Like someone reaching out, like someone of your caliber, and saying that he was a good character, because that didn't happen often. That almost never happened with him. You wouldn't get positive affirmation from your fellow RPers with Renee ever, ever. But with that said, I love that character. But Jack is just so much more complex, and there is something really cool about seeing people drawn to a character where it starts to build momentum and people understand what you're doing with him. So they're kind of the same character, just that Jack is a little bit more polished. So I guess I enjoy them both for different reasons. I love the fact that Jack is a little bit more able for other people to RP, and I get to RP with Mills and with Pip and with Vert and with you, with AJ, because Renee was so prickly. There was only like 2 or 3 close people that I could ever really develop a strong bond with and RP with. Just that's how much of an antagonist he was.
Oh, I literally can never thank you enough for that like 30 minutes you did after I died at the beginning of your stream, talking about our journey together and AJ as a character. I just thank you for that, because I can't stream. And lots of people never got to see AJ the same way you did, and you doing that meant a lot to me. It really did.
I got so many people mentioning to me, the one thing they would say about AJ was that she was the most believable. People would always say that AJ is the most believable whenever she would go on her spiels and she would, talk to Jack in a way that nobody else would. Some of the things that she would say, she was a very realistic character. Because we have the Billy Badass Criminals, but there's that same version for every archetype that there is. There's the Civ archetype like that, but there was something about her that was very realistic, like her motivations, her goals, why she's deciding to be with someone versus not. A lot of people really connected with her. They saw themselves in AJ, which was, I think, what made her so special. She chose security over love, and that ended up being her downfall. Like the irony there is so beautiful. that she ended up getting less security that way. But that's a decision that everybody makes in real life. I think those are some of the best RP moments is whenever our role play, where life imitates the art. I mentioned that earlier, Vert, whenever you did the PTSD, whenever you did your character falling apart. Though it's those, those scenes, I pay a lot of attention to how the chat responds to it, and those realistic elements. I love it when other people bring that in. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
What's your curveball question, Bert?
I was gonna ask everybody who your favorite outlaw is that you haven't played. Who else, like on the server, who's your favorite outlaw that you interacted with or watched?
Ooh.
I answer that right away because the name pops into my head right now. And I want to shout out this person, Peter Gray. Because right now what he's doing is so hard to do. He's picking up the torch. He's providing an attack, RP. Like, I would love to roll another character and just ride with him and have his back. Because right now he's going up against the world, turning on everybody, unraveling. I love when he gets on his spiels. I love when he gets on his, his vocabulary is off the fucking charts. He freestyles too. And that's where that's where his lyricism comes from. But his character is so lyrical. Our characters don't vibe just 'cause in character story, our stories don't connect. We're against each other. But right now, I think right now in this moment, he's providing he's the most important pivot in the server, in my opinion, is Peter Gray. And I know in character, we kind of trash on him and we go at him. That's because he's actually stepping up to us. And right now, what he's doing is so hard. I know to be in this position right now probably feels like he's got the world on his back. But right now, he's my favorite. Right now, it's Peter Gray, 100% without a doubt.
My favorite would be Braithwaite. Loved Braithwaite so much. Loved interacting with that character. For the little moments I did have with fucking great. So yeah, mine would be Braithwaite. Shout out to
Smokey, the general. Oh,
Smokey.
yeah. As far as criminal goes, he's always played the most legendary with Dennis Skinner and Catfish Curtis, which a lot of people here don't know about.
Yeah, Braithwaite, though, was just an exceptional character. He's a very good actor. I'm trying to think of who I would pick. That is a really hard question. So,
Yeah.
because I'm the host, I get to say, hey, Pip, who's your favorite outlaw on the server?
Clyde Davis.
Nice.
I love him to bits. I just think he's a really fun character. Yeah, love interacting with him.
It's very no nonsense, isn't he? He cuts to the chase a lot. I've noticed that.
Yeah, I was talking about I did on Wednesdays I do like a fucking roleplay theory stream, and I was talking about like great character designs in Wild. And I think I spent about 15 minutes talking about Hoop's design work with Clyde Davis because it's such a uniquely great character, but also has such an amazing look. Like it's Clyde from like fucking 100 meters away.
Yeah.
And there's no criminal on the server who's anything like Clyde. Like even close, you know what I mean? In terms of like the minute he walks in a room, like that's Clyde. Like the minute he opens his mouth, like it's Clyde. Yeah, I think Hoop definitely deserves like a massive fucking like shout out for creating and designing a really unique, very fun character. 100%.
Yeah. Always makes it fun.
Yeah.
And it's not unbelievable as well. It's a believable character.
Yeah. But like one of the great things about Clyde is how sort of like self-preservation Clyde is, and like Clyde will sort of like say almost anything just to to maintain the self-preservation, which is an incredibly inherently human trait. It's like the truth sort of like starts to warp a little bit in the sort of pursuit of self-preservation or getting the people over for you. But no, it's a fucking great character design, man. I think it's fucking awesome. In terms of favorite outlaw though, fuck man, that's hard. That's hard. Like most of my favorite outlaws, especially the ones I've roleplayed with, are probably in this chat right now.
Clay Tone gotta be a shout out 100% to Clay Tone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Graham's a fucking amazing role player. Like I enjoy my favorite stuff with Graham. And this isn't a knock on his role play at all. Is when he starts to explain out of character his reasoning for stuff, or sometimes his reasoning for not doing things. I always find that really interesting and quite useful as a role player to hear someone explain that process while live. Maybe that's just me.
Okay, my current favorite is the Wallaby Kid. Like, the chaotic nature of that character is just entertaining. But if I'm going off all time, and I don't know how much, I know that Peppo got to RP with Billy or Frank. Crawfish.
Oh,
Coolidge's character-
crawfish, man. Love crawfish.
Literally. Coolidge's character and
Shout out to Coolidge, man.
his
Listen.
freaking character is just a don't give a fuck you kind of character. And when he ran the bathhouse, that character gets me every time. Or Jam's Big's character, who actually perma'd one of my characters. I just love it. And it's part of the reason why I love the Wallaby Kid. I love people who they don't hold back. They're a badass. They're an asshole. And that's all they are. That just is what they are. And they own it, and they are that.
If I can mention one more person, I will mention also, I talked about it earlier, when I think another great mark of a character is when they disappear, then you realize what's missing. And when Gavin Summers disappeared, he took so much with him away. I remember whenever we were, at the peak of the quote unquote war, I remember the first day we met Baz. I met Baz. We sent him on a mission to go to Van Horn, and Van Horn was usually swarming with like 20 people at all times. And for whatever reason, he went on vacation. He had took a break for a few days. And you know what? 20 people went with him. That's a really, and I remember being so disappointed when I found out that Baz went and it was empty. Because every day before that, it was packed. And when you have a character that has 20, 30 people revolving around, and first of all, it's a lot of pressure on a character to have so many people relying on you for the RP, but it was so important, I think, for the server, and it still hasn't been filled, where there's these orbits, there's these pillars. The DiCenzos, I got a shout out to Croc and all of those guys, Zaytalk, all of them. I love what they've always done. They made our world so believable, so realistic, that there's always this presence. What they were doing with the gold bars, that you can always talk about this great power that, and every time you're sitting at the table and we're deciding how we're gonna make moves in the crossing, we always have to account for this family called the DiCenzos. You always have to consider what they're gonna do, just like we had to consider what Van Horn was gonna do back in the day. Those figures are so important, and when they disappear, you really feel the lack of. You really feel the lack of them. Because there's towns for civs. It was nice with Van Horn that there was a town for crims, even though my character or Mills, I know, we never went there, only to go attack. But big shout out to those people that are these orbits, these criminal orbits, that because there's so much RP when we're sitting down and we're trying to discuss moves. Like with K&K, when we were discussing moves, we had to account for what the DiCenzos were gonna do, what their moves are. And even if you don't interact with them, to have these props that you can reference that give you RP and discussions and their pivots for conversation, that's really important stuff.
I was going to say, pretty much all the conversations that we had, we would always mention the DiCenzos in one way or another. They'd always, come into it at some point because, like you said, they were this big presence. We were considering what they would do, how they would react. Most of the time it was, who gives a fuck, is the DiCenzos, but the fact that they were on the point of conversation.
Someone in chat just said that Baz was an animal and that they think Baz was. I will be honest, I never thought of Baz as a criminal. I know he did criminal acts. To me, Baz was always just like a sad drunk. I just never ever considered.
Jeez, thanks for really just simplifying my character. He's just a sad drunk.
I'm just saying that's how
That's all he was.
I never ever thought of him as a criminal. I know he
They
robbed
were-
banks.
They were
but
calling the ranch next Van Horn. The law were. They were crazy.
I'll say
Bef-
this: if I can just say a quick thing about Baz. Well, what I really loved about Baz and what Verse did with him, he was really good. Whether he knows if he was doing this or not on purpose, Baz was really good at giving you the floor and giving you the limelight, your character the limelight. And every time I had interactions with him, I felt like he would always make Jack shine in whatever way, even if we were cursing each other out. And that's something that I think he was a really special character for that. I know we're just talking about Crims, but you got to mention Bass Kerrigan as just one of the all-time great characters. Period.
agree. Mills, what
Uh,
about you? You got a favorite outlaw?
I mean, I was gonna say Gavin Summers, but Peppo spoke on it. But I didn't even play with this character. I don't even think I was on the server, but I saw it in a. I've watched VODs of the character David Parker, and his like the speech he gave before he got gunned down by a firing squad. Like that character was just so in depth, and it was played by Graham, of course, but David Parker.
I don't even know
Man.
who that was.
God, I feel like so many names I want to start mentioning. If we're talking about outlaws, guys, in Armadillo, there's two graves. One is of Renee, and the other one is of London. This guy London, played by High Priest, who plays Reverend K now. He plays a lawman, and he plays one of the natives. I forget which one exactly. But this guy London was the quintessential outlaw. He was the stoic man. I don't think any character will ever. He was able to say so much while saying so little. A man of very few words, extremely laconic, and you just had to have been there to appreciate and understand this character, London. I just want to do a shout out to London, High Priest. Love you, brother. Miss you. Yeah, sorry.
See what you started, Verts. Does anybody else have any random questions they'd like to have? Well, they have
I'm
this
sorry.
group of very intelligent
Another
people.
shout out. Hold on. Another shout out. Another great character, Biggs.
Oh yeah, Biggs.
That was another great crim. Whenever I came with Jack Kettleman, I thought Biggs and Gavin Summers are the two big guys. These are the people I have to either be mentored with or take out. And I always thought, and those two characters were so amazing. And it's sad we didn't get to see more of them. And yeah.
You know what? The greatest part about Biggs was like, because I've role played with Jam for years, and I was actually role playing with him as AJ and Klaus. We were having a conversation in Valentine. He left town, and I guess he rolled as Biggs, like he whatever relogged as Biggs, and he came into Valentine, and I saw him, and I was like, oh my god, it's Biggs. I haven't seen Biggs forever, but I never thought of him as Jam, ever. Like when I saw Klaus, I think in my head, oh cool, it's Jam. But I never thought of Biggs as, like, that's how far removed I was. And yes, he murdered Fifi. He did. He shot me right in the chest.
That was your Bathwinch character, correct?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
I liked blowing bubbles and telling no happy ending stories. It was a lot of fun.
You know, it's funny. I don't know how Baz got a reputation for not being an outlaw. When a Bell gang came, they robbed Mills. Baz was the one who called the bandits for us to go and gun them all down. Told us to get our ropes out. We're attacking. Then when there was a few
soldier, bro. He's a soldier.
Soldier schmoldier, man. That's what an outlaw's supposed to. That's outlaw. How much more outlaw can you get? How much more outlaw can you get? And what was funny was
he was.
yeah. Anyways, wanted to put that out.
To feed off of that, it was such a beautiful moment too, because I've seen a lot in the chat where like people be like, oh, Mills and Baz like barely interacted. There was like a special moment where Baz and Riggs got into like this huge fucking argument, and Baz was gonna walk down to like Braithwaite Manor to go get himself gunned down or something. And Mills and Jack and everyone was up on the hill, and Mills was the only one who went down the hill and was like, Baz, like we're a family, like turn your ass around.
Yeah.
Baz was he was like, no, I gotta go. And then Mills said, motherfucker, if you're going down that hill, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
And
Do you
and
know
that
where
turned
I
him
was
around.
going, by the way?
Where were you gonna
I
go?
was going down to Valentine to tell the deputies that I killed Banks, and I was gonna take a firing squad. I was gonna perma.
Damn, that's crazy.
And
That's why
Mills came down and stopped him. Yeah.
that's why that scene and like then we had the scene where Baz was like, everyone was like with the Bell gang, everyone was like, well, I mean, you just got robbed, Mills. Mills was like, I told them they're gonna regret it, and Baz was like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
That
So
scene was
fucking dry, bro.
That's right.
And we did, mate. And we did.
They never been seen since, man. Shout out to the Bell gang. Shout out to the Bell gang.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Bell gang.
Well, I do want to thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it that you took your time and did this for me. I appreciate it. And it was really interesting. I learned a few things about you guys. Like that Ryan used to be a cop. That's interesting. I might have to talk to him more about that. But yeah, I want you guys to give everyone here a follow if you're not already following them, because they're all amazing, talented people. And make sure to check out their about pages on their Twitch pages, because it will give you their Discord links, their Twitch, their YouTube, all that kind of stuff.
All that good shit.
All that good shit.
I want to say thank you to you, Peachy, for having us on. You're a really insightful person. These questions, it's super late for me. I thought I'd be dead asleep, but I'm wide awake. Thank you for inviting us. And I love everybody I'm here RPing with. Davey, Dust Monkey, K-Sins, Ford, Peachy. I feel so lucky that I get to RP with you guys here and the whole WildRP and Kano and Kraz and everybody that puts it together. I just want to say that thank you for having us.
Yeah, dude.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Echo Pepper there completely.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, well, that's enough kissing everybody's ass. I feel bad. I don't like compliments.
Get back into the server and start shooting each other.
But yes, thank you. And make sure you follow these guys, okay? You probably already are, but just in case you aren't. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Good night.
Well, I
Good
should
night,
Thank
guys.
you, guys.
Should probably host someone, eh?
I just want to leave off saying
Most.
Superman's OP. I'll see you guys later.
You're a
Boom!
Good night, everybody.
Laters.
See you, everyone.
They're just leaving.
I know, right?
No post.
I was just
no,
saying.
yeah,
I
stay,
was gonna
Pip.
speak to him for a little bit. I
You
was
could
gonna
do like
speak
a
to him for little bit.
post podcast chat. Get back in here, you dorks. Oh, hi, Tank. Everybody follow Tank Girl.
Oh, I thought you were done.
But we're happy to hear from you.
I'll be quiet.
I'm gonna raid Ziggurat. Ziggurat's a lovely role player that he's been whitelisted on this server and really needs to play.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I muted those guys.